welcome to Infamous, the audio podcast. This is Brandon, or Mutilus, on the forum.
This is Parker. Go by Dr. Mantis Toboggan, MD, on the forums.
You just can't stop. This is Jeremy. I go by Dormammu, a.k.a. Dormammu, on no forums. Dormammu needs no forums.
Dormammu has his own forum. The Dark Dimension is his forum.
I like that your name is... Inside jokes, I like the AKA same thing. That brings joy to my heart. John knows why. We both know a certain individual that likes AKA. Shout out, John. All right, well, welcome to episode 48, question mark? That's probably the title.
Yeah.
So, quick announcements today. If you tuned in last time, you know that Parker is a terrible human being and likes to abuse children. Stay tuned to the pre-ramble for more information
What?
on that. He's now down to 182 probationary episodes. That's right, 48 episodes, and he's racked up 182 probation episodes.
I'm really excited about my tricentennial, I think.
Tricentennial. Well done,
How
sir.
about this, Parker? We like doing bets, and so let's start wagering probationary episodes.
Ooh.
And if you get to 0, I won't troll you.
Whoa.
Until you again have probationary episodes. But while you have any amount of probationary episodes, I get to troll you.
Troll prohibition is... That's really something.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't know what amount of money I have. What you just put on the table is priceless.
No, we're going to wager in probationary episodes.
Okay, all right.
So you're like, well, I think this. You're like, I disagree. It's like, well, I'll bet you 10 episodes. You're like, all right, I'm in. And you're
Okay.
like, so then we'll just
I will do it. Let's I really like this.
How about we have to? I'll come up with some bonus if we get to 1,000.
Okay.
Where you have to, like, I don't know, buy me all the models. I don't know.
We'll figure it out.
I feel like an adult needs
All
to
right.
come running out and be like, Parker, no, it's not a good bet. No.
All right, Parker, you're now allowed to do your segment.
All right, it's time for news.
News.
All right, so there actually is news, and then there's really, really actually important news. So let's get through the news that nobody cares about. Who really cares?
I noticed that some of our news is in alternating colored font and much larger bold text.
That's because that's the most important news. The most important news is
okay.
color-coded to reflect the man, literally. So we're going to not talk about the most important news first. We're going to leave that for last. We're going to leave you on the hook. We did have the Hood's card. So we now know what the Hood does. And I say card, but that's actually a misnomer. It's cards. So many cards. Our first dual card totally character. So we've had characters that have single card prints with multiple rules on them, but this guy actually has 2 complete cards he comes with. So card bloat incoming. We've got some cards. The Hood is...
Oh.
Okay, go ahead.
You clearly do not know. I will tell you in a little bit. Continue.
Oh, okay. The Hood has 2 different cards completely. We'll talk about his normal version first. So this is him when he's not gone full Demon Boy. So Pistolier Hood, normal Hood, is a 3-cost character, moving speed medium, size 2 with 5 health on both sides. He is identical on both sides. 2 physical health, 2 energy health, and 3 mystic defense. So already he's got the superhuman stat line, right? No sort of resistance or resilience, or except for some magical resistance. So already this guy can fall over, right? He can just be pushed over. Like one attack.
You said superhuman, and I thought you were trying to say he was superhuman.
No.
And you mean he is very human
Yes.
stat line.
He is very
Okay.
human. Yes.
Maybe not the best word choice.
You are correct. He is very human.
Okay.
So I mean, a single attack, a single 4-die attack can just one-shot him. Like it's
pretty unlikely, but yeah.
Yeah.
We've talked about this many times. The difference of 1 defense die is fairly negligible. But let's go ahead and get into the rest of it.
Okay. So he does have 2 mystic attacks. The first one's called Hex Shot. It's range 3. 4 dice. He always receives 1 power for doing so. And it does have rapid fire if you roll a hit. So if you get 1 hit in your 4 dice, then it does go rapid fire. He also has another attack called Dark Lightning, which is also range 3, 6 dice, and it costs 3 power. It has a new ability called Arc on a Wild. So after this attack is resolved, you choose a number of enemy characters within 3 inches of the target character equal to or less than the number of wilds in the attack roll. So it counts up the number of wilds totally, and they automatically suffer 1 damage. So it's not another attack roll, just 1 damage within 3 of the original for every wild you have in Dark Lightning. Then, after this attack is resolved, the character that got shot, and just that one, receives shock.
Yeah, it's really cool pseudo-explosion.
Mm-hmm. Really huge area of effect. Within 3 of that character, that's enormous. It'd be really hard. If you get 1 wild, unless it's the very end of the game, you're definitely doing 1 damage to somebody, I think. Is it that? I can't think. Unless you're like somebody way on the side point, I don't think you'll ever not get damage.
Yeah, it's pretty likely to deal damage. And more importantly, you'll know when you're about to do it because, you'll be using Dark Lightning when there's a bunch of people around.
Right. Also, coolness is you get to choose, right? Which is nice. You're just like, I pick that one because that one needs the damage. It's not like the closest, for example.
Right.
So your first superpower is called Black Arts. It costs 3 power. Choose another allied character within 3. That character immediately removes up to 3 damage and suffers bleed. And you can only affect a character with that once per round. So he has a 3 cost for 3 heal.
Mm-hmm. This power is awesome. This is why you're never going to use Dark Lightning.
Yeah. Black Arts is absolutely amazing. The idea that you can... Because if you heal somebody who's already activated, they're not even taking the bleed that round. You have to wait till the next round to do it. Taking a bleed for 3 health of healing is such an awesome trade. It takes you 3.
Also,
go ahead.
Just think of how often your characters already have fucking bleed. Like
right.
It just doesn't matter.
Right. Funnily enough, it makes the Dhampir. I almost said his name. The Dhampir does go off. So if you try to heal somebody, the Dhampir smells that blood and goes after him. But except for those edge cases like the Dhampir and Drax, there are a couple characters you might not want bleed on, but with the exception of those, bleed is a great trade for 3 health. His next power is called Invisibility Cloak. It costs 2. When this character is targeted by an attack or make a dodge roll, you may use this superpower. The character uses its Mystic Defense to defend or dodge. During this defense or dodge, the character adds blanks to its total successes. So it becomes it's a mystical martial artist for 2 power to any dodge or attack roll.
It's not martial artist, it is just blanks. Martial artist has range and damage type restrictions.
Right, so super mystic martial artist, I guess, yeah.
Well,
so that'd be
I just don't think we should reference an ability
that
it's not identical
it would be
confusing.
It would be kind of actually it's like a better version of what is that is that Vibranium Shield that does blanks too? Vibranium Armor for Black Panther
Vibranium Armor does blanks against specific damage types. So again, it's just add blanks.
Yeah.
Let's not compare it to rules that are not the same.
It's similar. But there you go.
It's better. It is better than all of those abilities.
It is better than all those abilities. Finally, a passive. When this character is possessed by the Nasanti, it's just the demon that he gets his mystical power with or from. I say they're kind of collaborating, but it's not like Venom. It's not really symbiotic. The Hood is definitely being taken advantage of in this, but he thinks he's got the better of the demon. When this character is damaged by an enemy effect, after the effect is resolved, this character may transform into Hood Possessed. If this character would be dazed, before being dazed, it transforms into Hood Possessed, then it is dazed. So if you are damaging him, he automatically will turn into the Hood Possessed if he's dazed, but you get the option to turn him into Hood Possessed if he's just damaged. So, speaking of Hood Possessed, this guy now, right? So he has identical defensive stats, health, movement, and everything else. But he does change his attacks. First off, his magic gun bullets turn into Razor Talons. It's a physical attack. Range 2, 6 dice. 6. After this attack is resolved, the character gains power equal to the damage dealt it bleeds on a wild, and after this attack is resolved, if the character was dazed or KO'd by the attack, this character immediately transforms into the Hood. Basically, if the Hood possessed, the demon, the Nasanti, is it Nasanti? Yeah, if the Nasanti kills someone with its razor talons, it becomes satiated, it loses a bit of its aggression, and Parker Robbins, the Hood, takes back over, and so you turn back into the gun toter. But that's a 6-die base attack on a 3-cost model. That's awesome.
I mean, Ant-Man has a 6-dice attack on a 3-cost model.
But he's also Ant-Man.
But that's my point. Like,
Yeah.
This attack has notable negatives. Like, you lose it when you attack with it
Mhm.
if you daze the person.
Mhm.
So just calm down a little bit, sir.
No, I mean I think it's what I mean is it's premium, not broken, just premium.
It's a good attack.
Yeah. Mystic attack, empowered Dark Lightning. So it reads very similar to the first one with some notable exceptions. It's still range 3. It's 8 dice for 4 power this time instead of 3. But then it has empowered arc. So after this attack is resolved, you would then immediately count the number of wilds in the roll. You target characters within range 3 of your initial target. Each character takes 2 damage instead of 1. After this attack is resolved, the target character gains shock, and after this attack is resolved, the character immediately transforms back into the Hood normal. The idea is the empowered Dark Lightning uses a lot of the mystical energy, keeping the possessed Nasanti in the physical world, and so as soon as he uses empowered Dark Lightning, he shifts back into the other Hood. So are you excited to use empowered Dark Lightning, or is that? I mean, it is 8 dice, range 3. Or do you want to keep him as the Hood possessed for as long as you can? What do you think?
Well, I mean, it looks like pretty much whatever's going to be happening, it's likely that he won't stay as this guy for very long.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, if you're taking a purely combat character, you're not dazing anybody with charge and 6-dice attacks, then you're kind of messing up. So,
speaking of that, we just mentioned he does have charge, so it is just like a normal charge. You make it a move action followed by an attack action for 2 power. And then he has this Demonic Resilience. When this character would suffer damage from an enemy effect, reduce the amount suffered by 2 to a minimum of 1. They did it!
I mean, yeah, it's definitely good, and there's absolutely no question. This is one of the best damage reductions in the game. But if you think about it, how often are you taking 3 unblocked damage? Which is the only time this ability kicks in.
Right.
But it is very good.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, it is really, really good compared to regular damage reduction. But, I mean, the odds of it actually triggering are fairly low.
Right.
So I think the concept, much like Ant-Man and Wasp, the Transformers seem to be built around really dialing in the exact moment you activate the character. It has to be the exact right time.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking that basically the concept is you get attacked by somebody, you transform, and then you leave him in the demonic state for the rest of the round, and then go with him last and attack, and he transforms back.
Right.
And so you're basically using the extra defense from him being in the demonic form for as long as possible. But yeah, I think as soon as you activate him, you're going to expect to go back into normal.
Right. The passive, called Mystic Vulnerability, while defending against a Mystic attack, this character does not add additional dice to its defense roll as a result of crits. If this character is damaged by a Mystic attack after the attack is resolved, it immediately transforms back to Hood normal. If this character would be dazed by a Mystic attack, before being dazed, it transforms into Hood normal, then it is dazed. So there is a kryptonite bullet for the Hood that will turn him out of his scary demon form if you want him back in his human form for some reason, and that is a Mystic attack. If he gets by a Mystic attack, he will turn back.
Luckily for this guy, Mystic attacks are very rare, and there's not any more of them coming out anytime soon.
No, none soon.
There's only like 1 in the whole game. Don't worry about it. It's gonna be raining fucking eye bullets.
Oh
everywhere.
my gosh, there is so much Mystic coming out soon. This guy he's not going to stay as the Hood possessed for very long. But like you said, I think the Hood possessed is for like 1 defensive spike where you'll be harder to kill usually for 1 attack, or more than 1 attack if your opponent can only throw physical and energy at him. But he's only going to throw probably one strong attack and then switch back to Hood normal, which is also keeping with the character. I think it's kind of cool that they made a character that does transform back and forth, but he transforms into the Hood Possessed at a very particular moment, and it's also manipulable by your opponent. So I think he's cool, but I don't think he's egregious at all.
I mean, the one thing he's missing is board manipulation. So you have a 3-point model that does some damage, it does some healing, but it's not going to be able to affect the game state aside from murdering somebody. But I don't know. He doesn't do much for trying to move models around, which is kind of how you win this game.
He has another model to add heals to a list, though. If you really, really, really wanted to make Who Wants to Live Forever, if you want to make like a Highlander that just can't die, he can do that. One more model that can heal other models.
He looks really, really fun to play. He's very interactive. He has a lot of reactive type of effects.
Mm-hmm.
When you transform, you get to place within one, right?
In general,
like
in the game,
that's part of transform, right?
I think so, because they don't want you to have to like take the model and perfectly place it where it was.
Even though part of the tools for this game include perfectly shaped objects to hold where a base is supposed to go.
Oh.
Although some people change size when they transform, so I assume they will anyway. Let's see. Rules PDF. Transform page 26. This is a lie. This does not have transform on it. Okay, so place the miniature for the new form of the character transforming onto the battlefield within range 1 of its current position. Remove the transforming character's original model, and it is now represented by the new form. So yeah, he gets to place within 1 every time he gets to transform. And so being able to place in the middle of your opponent's turn is pretty nice. And it's anytime he's damaged, he gets to transform. So that seems nice. You get to maybe pop out of range. Yeah, I mean, not every character. Jeremy's right. He definitely doesn't really have board control. But I think it's okay for 3-point models to not have board control. I think he looks fun to play. I don't know if he's like powerful, but he looks very fun. Every turn you take with him is going to be like a lot of decisions.
He does have rapid fire. I mean, he would probably make a pretty good Cabal because he has a lot of uses for his power. I mean, there's some cool stuff you could do. I mean, yeah, he's only 3 points, so it's fine.
Yeah, I really like him for Cabal too. I think Cabal will be fun. I expect him also to be a Cabal member. I'd be very surprised if he wasn't.
Why do you think he's good in Cabal?
Because he gets a ton of power.
Yeah, I like rapid fire.
Does he get a ton of power? I mean, it's 4 dice attack.
He gets one power for shooting.
Yeah, that's on his card. That has nothing to do with Cabal.
Yeah, 1 power for shooting, 1 power for a damage. He just has the ability.
If you damage them, it's only a 4 dice attack. It's only range 3, and he only gets the rapid fire on a hit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, he can get more power,
and he has lots of good uses for his power. That's my point. Like, he actually has good uses for power.
Yeah, I think he'll have enough power on his own. He'll generate 2 or 3 a turn. You'll never use Dark Lightning. You might use the big one, but if you're using the big one, that means you've been attacked, so you probably have extra power. The real question is how much does he end up spending on Invisibility Cloak? Cool. All right, well, what's next, Parker?
Next, we have some Dormammu Tactics cards. So we'll do the mild one first. The mild-mannered one is called Dark Empowerment. Dark Empowerment is a Dark Dimension card only. It is an active ability. During a character's activation, it may suffer 1 damage to play this card. It does not cost power, only suffers 1 damage. Choose another character within range 3 of the active character. Effects of the next attack made this turn by the active character cannot cause it to gain power. The chosen character gains power equal to the attack dealt by damage dealt by the attack. So the idea is, you're about to do an attack. You want the other person to get the power for it. The cool bit is you do not have to do a basic attack, the ones that usually gain people power. So if you're about to do a spender, your spender, if does any damage, will give somebody else on your team power. So it's a way to get power out of a spender that you normally otherwise wouldn't. It won't work within this activation. You have to give it to somebody else. But if you wanted to stack power on a character for 1 damage, interesting.
Yeah, I assume the intention here is that when Dormammu is about to super blast somebody, you play this and like, okay, whoever, like my Magneto is going to gain like 6 power from this.
Mm-hmm. I think it is cool to gain power from spenders, because spenders are supposed to be a negative sum game every time. The fact that you can spend 1 damage and do this and just get something for it is excellent. I like this. I actually like this, thinking about things like, well, you could obviously do it on characters that heal at the end of their turn. Any regenerators would basically make this card perfectly free. And so if you use one of their spenders, and then you could give power to Dormammu if you wanted to use something like his tactics card, we're about to find out in a second. Or you could give power to somebody with throws or pushes, or like Shuri, give just a bunch of power to Shuri, so you can just power rerolls for the rest of the turn. Lots of ways you could use it. You just have to have a really good reason to get power on one character while you're spending. I don't know if this pushes out any other tactics card in the game, but it's okay.
I don't think it does. I really doubt this card gets played. I think it's a good design space though.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I find it really hard to believe that this would get played over many things.
Right. Jeremy, could you think of a real good reason to play Dark Empowerment?
I mean, it's a good way to give Dormammu power, right? I mean,
Right.
He doesn't gain power on his own.
Mm-hmm.
But
He's stunned all the time.
The affiliation is a funky one, so what you need in that affiliation is still a big question mark. Like, they might just be fine. They might need that card to actually achieve the goal. 4th round might be the toughest one, where you need power on models that don't have it, and you're like, there it is. There's the card. That's what you need. I don't know.
Yeah.
Another way to look at this, if you use it on spenders, right? So if you use it on big attacks, if you spend 4 power and you did 4 damage, it's basically a way to just conserve power across your force. It's just to keep it like I said, a neutral sum game, or maybe even a winning game. So it's interesting that you could, if there was a card that said take any 4 power on a character, they get to do an attack, and you take all the power you spent and give it to somebody else. I don't know if that gets played, but it's not a bad card. It's interesting.
The fact that it's based on random dice rolls, I don't like it.
Right.
I don't know. I just feel like if you're that desperate for power, there's probably a better way. I don't know that that's true, but I feel that way.
Mm-hmm. Now, the real potatoes, the big boys, is his second card that got spoiled. Dark Restoration. We talk on this podcast a lot about cards and things that like define and the reason why you play an affiliation. This feels like the one for Dark Dimension. It's a reactive card that says, during the cleanup phase, Dormammu himself may spend 6 to play this card. Place an allied character of threat level 3 or less that has been KO'd this game within range 2 of Dormammu. The character is healthy and has no damage, special conditions, or effects. Wow.
If you bring Magneto back with that, I quit the game.
It's threat value 3 or less.
Oh, missed that part.
Yeah, so that's why it has definitely the only reason why it has some balance, but man, bringing
oh my god, if you could resurrect anybody,
that'd be terrifying.
Holy shit.
But bringing
I honestly don't think it's threat value 3 for any particular reason for game balance. I think it's threat value 3 because none of the threat value 3 guys resurrect themselves. Because you can't bring back Ghost Rider and then have him resurrect himself again.
Yeah. Obviously, the premium models that this collaborates with well are the models that you love to just drop on the board. You use high risk models that go in the middle of things like Zemo and Valkyrie. These are all models just kind of dive in. You could use it on fantastic protector type models. Like, how wonderful would it be for your opponent to have to spend 2 turns chewing through Luke Cage, and then you just bring Luke Cage back? That is fantastic if you want to just use it to make Dormammu, give him functionally 20 extra health that has DR and just obnoxiousness. So
I could easily see someone playing this on Okoye and just you have to kill Okoye 4 times.
Right.
It'd be so frustrating.
Right. So protectors are great targets for it. High risk, high reward models that you love throwing in, like Valkyrie, Drax,
Hawkeye would be a good one.
Hawkeye
is pretty survivable, but he does get exploded sometimes.
Mm-hmm. And so he just comes back and keeps doing his thing.
Mm.
Yeah, there's
Drax. Put Drax in the middle and have him just soak damage forever.
Yeah, because you feel like you got to remove Drax or he starts running, all over your list. But if you waste time and energy killing him, then he's just right back. Maybe you could have a surprise one like Quicksilver. Quicksilver is somebody you usually need to remove because he's going around gobbling up all those objective tokens. But if you spend time killing him, then he just comes right back and steals things again, perhaps, or picks things up and runs away. So on turn 4 or maybe 3, depending on how good your opponent's army is at killing, fantastic card. Fantastic card.
Yeah, I can't see a better use than bringing back a bodyguard. That's really nasty.
I love the idea of bringing back Luke Cage. Luke Cage is just so annoying.
Luke Cage is a good one.
Yeah.
Or Crossbones.
Uh-huh. He is in the card art. By the way, the card art is really cool. The card art is really cool.
It is. It's the coolest Crossbones has ever looked.
Yeah, it is. Being brought back from the dead. Because surely he was dead.
Is not going to work.
Yeah. They're trying really hard to make Crossbones super alluring. I don't know. I don't know if that'll ever happen. But they're trying. Oh, man. They are trying. Here's another fun one. Groot. I don't know what he does when he comes back, but that would be annoying as hell.
He didn't really do anything the first time.
I was getting ready to say.
We're going to bring him back so he can do it again.
Yeah, but if somebody does try to kill Groot for some reason, he would just come back.
I mean, you wouldn't resurrect Groot. You would resurrect Rocket, because Rocket's the one that died.
Right.
But having 2 Rockets is pretty cool.
Uh-huh.
That might make Rocket worthwhile again.
Ooh. Okay, hear me out.
Mm.
You know that infinite destruction plan we were doing with Punisher? After he dies from All You've Got, you just bring him back.
There you go.
Doom Prophecy, All You've Got, Punisher, and then when he dies, you're like, Dark Resurrection. So, Punisher again.
More Punisher. So, that is Dormammu cards. Anything more we have to say about Dormammu cards?
No, I think it's good.
Okay. So, the cavalcade of tactics cards, we got Dr. Voodoo and Hood tactics cards now. We already had some of them spoiled, but here's some more. Presumably the rest of the box, but we never know. The first one is Hood's Gang, which I love because one of my favorite reasons why I love the Hood is his gang is kind of an eclectic who's who of random Marvel B-list supervillains. The card is unaffiliated, active. The Hood normal, so you can't do this with your demon, but Hood normal may play this card during his activation. This round, when an allied character is attacking an enemy character contesting or holding an objective token, the allied character may re-roll its stacked dice. All of its stacked dice, excuse me. So it basically gives you Nebula for an attack, but no,
is
attacking,
there a man
so it's the
that
whole
wears
activation. Go ahead.
Yeah, it works on all attacks, right?
Mm-hmm, it does.
Yeah, it works on everything. It's Dark Rain for people contesting objectives.
Yes, which is only better, right? Like that's.
I mean, theoretically, in the right, it's about the same.
Mm-hmm.
Being affiliated versus targeting somebody specifically on an objective, because like they could then theoretically activate their character and move off the objective if that was the problem.
Right.
Like so. Yes and no. It's equivalent, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Being unaffiliated is a big deal. Giving everyone potential access to this is big.
Yes.
But I wanted to ask you, due to the card art, is there someone in Hood's gang that just wears a furry bear suit?
No, that's Grizzly, and Grizzly is
okay.
Yeah,
so
Grizzly.
Yes.
Okay, so Spider-Man has a bunch of random, I would say like C-list bad guys, all based on animal themes. A lot of Spider-Man's, bad
like
guys are
Rhino.
animal themed.
This guy's literally Rhino, but with a bear.
Yes,
of a rhino.
and so there's actually a lot of, like, they were all serious at one point, like the 70s and 80s. They were serious supervillains, but since then they're always kind of a joke. And that's actually there's comic books about them being jokes and what they do about being jokes. And one of the things they did in the modern universe is they allied with the Hood, because the Hood said, if I get enough jokes together, it's probably not funny anymore. And that's kind of his idea. So yeah, he just gathers up all these folks who are just kind of thrown away and they can't do things by themselves because they're, generally failures. But if you throw enough failures at people, maybe you succeed, is his idea.
And that card's free. That card's free to play, right? It might not
cost 0 power.
I mean, that's a really freaking good card.
The card is just get him.
Yeah,
that's the card.
Giving everyone on your whole team complete rerolls to anybody any one of your opponents that's currently letting them win the game. That's really good. For free, as long as you're playing Hood and he's normal.
I think there's going to be a decent amount of player balance to this card, because the concept being that you're going to play this on somebody that has just contested a secure point, because that's the easiest way to target people with it.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so you're going to have to wait until they've activated, or else they'll just move away. So there's going to be this interesting, all right, well, when are you going to activate the character, and when are you going to put them on the objective? How many people do I have left that are in position to attack them? So there's going to be that little, I know you know kind of game plan with this card once people understand it. But this is going to be a huge gotcha card for a month or two, where people are just, it's like bitter rivals. Oh my god, that does what? And your guy explodes. You never had a chance. Yeah, so once people understand it, it's going to be that, well, I'll have to play around the threat of this card more so than the actual card.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be the first MODOK moves a character onto an objective, and you're like, what now?
Yeah.
Boom. You're exploding.
Yeah, here's another thing. Since if they use the comic books, it's likely that he'll be a Cabal member also, because he was a member of the actual Cabal when Green Goblin ran it. So if he's a member of the Cabal, which he likely will be, you'll have 2 rerollable cards. So you'll have 2 turns, one where you target one character. I mean, they will have to just...
I think he's just going to be criminals and whatever the mystic people are.
I think they'll have to completely ignore the comic books and everything about them in order to not make him Cabal, but maybe they do, just for the sake of the game.
Green Goblin's not in Cabal.
Yes, he is. He organized the only actual Cabal in comic books.
No, in the game he's not in Cabal. Is he? He's in Criminals. He's not in Cabal.
I think you're right. Yeah, you're right.
So they're ignoring the fact that he ever led the Cabal.
I know.
So
with you.
How is Hood going to be? Oh, they'd have to ignore it. Well, they're obviously ignoring that.
Yeah.
Or else Green Goblin would be Cabal.
I know. They also put Deadpool in the Avengers, and maybe he was once, but obviously he's not a card carrier, so I don't. I think they do what they. I do.
He's just a trainee. Calm down.
Yeah. Right. He is a junior X-Man, right? He always, that's the joke.
I went to Green Goblin's card to see if he was in Cabal. That's how good at this game I am.
Yeah. To his card. Are you in Cabal card?
I looked up his card. I said, where would it say? Oh, God. I'm an idiot. Affiliation lists. Cabal. According to Cabal, Green Goblin is nowhere to be found.
There you go.
So I would be surprised if he was in Cabal.
Yeah.
He's obviously going to be in Criminals, and he's probably going to be in Convocate, or whatever the hell that stupid faction's called.
Convocation? Probably.
Yeah, those peoples.
Actually, let's spare a moment for a thought for a second. Having this card in Criminals is also good. Because criminals would love to be able to spike damage on one turn. That's also really good.
I would actually argue it's much better in Criminals than in Cabal, because Cabal don't need this.
Right. They already have it. And the fact that, generally speaking, people have to come into Criminals just to get them to stop. Usually you have 2 or 3 people on a point trying to stop Criminals from automatically taking it. So you're going to get more value out of this generally on the turn you play it if you're in Criminals. So
cool.
Our next card.
Jeremy.
Oh, go ahead.
Jeremy, what do you think about this card?
I already said it's super cheap. It's free. I think it's an amazing card. I think it's great.
Next card, the Plane of Poldark. It's a Convocation card, active. Any Convocation character may spend 3 power to play this card. Choose an enemy character. Allied characters may reroll any number of attack dice when making mystic attacks that target the chosen character this round.
Are you guys noticing a pattern?
I do. It smells like Dark Rain.
Dice mods!
Yes.
I like dice mods. I'm for this.
Yeah.
This might be as good as Dark Reign.
It likely
I
is,
think-
because Convocation's likely full of Mystic attacks.
I actually think this is better than Hood's Gang. It costs 3 power, but you get to decide when it happens, and your
Right.
opponent can't play around it.
Right, because you can just take out Hood or something, and then it doesn't happen.
Yeah, it's like, I damage Hood. Are you flipping? You're like, well, no. It's like, cool, I kill Hood. And you're like, oh.
Yeah.
Like,
Right. But Convocation is any Convocation character. It's worth noting, any Convocation character can play it, but then all ally characters may reroll
Yes.
any number of attack dice with Mystic. So even though MODOK will likely not be a Convocation character, his basic attack are Mystic. So he'll be rerolling stuff if you have him in Convocation.
or anyone. I know you can't do Defenders and Convocation,
Mhm.
but there are possibly other ways that are going to come out that will allow you to change your attack types.
Right. Also, most of the Convocation characters right now, and if there are any models like the Dampeel, who's not a Convocation model because he's a Midnight Sun, if there are some models that are coming out that are not Convocation, almost all of the new ones in this next wave are Mystic Attack, just full of Mystic
Yeah, I
attacks.
mean, look at this guy. This guy's pistols are Mystic. Like,
Yeah.
we get it, guys.
Yeah.
This, you think about it like this is a giant nerf to damage in the game. Because we already know that Mystic is the average highest defense stat.
Yeah.
And so they're just trying to lower the amount of damage models do.
Yeah, it is weird how Mystic is so high across the game, and they're putting all these Mystic attacks in. All these people are trying to hurt Magneto. No dice. Actually, a lot of dice, a lot of rerolls, but perhaps no damage. What do you think, Jeremy? Is playing a Poldark better than Dark Reign?
I'd put them on the same par. I mean, the only thing I'm certain of is dice mods are always better than more dice. So
Yes.
that's scary as anything else. Like, that card right there makes it worthwhile to play Convocation. Like, I'm playing these guys and I have this card. What model do you want me to delete? Like, because you can.
I feel like they're finally loosening the reins on the dice mod cards, and they're realizing that no one gives 2 fucking shits about add 2 dice to your attack.
Correct. Because it doesn't mean anything.
It's so worthless, yeah.
It only
Like,
means
average, yeah.
it only
Average 1 more hit. You're like, that does not help me.
Yeah.
it only means something on models that can then mod their dice. So it was like, well, that sucks. Like, I'm going to make a Koye into a 4-point model all of a sudden. It's like, no, that's not what the game's supposed to be about. That's just feel bad moments. Like, cards like this are fixing that. Like, it's good.
All right, Parker, what's next?
Our next card is...
Did you lose it?
Next card is Seance. Seance is an unaffiliated card that only Dr. Voodoo may play. While Dr. Voodoo has his brother Daniel token, add 2 additional dice instead of 1 to his attack, defense, and dodge rolls when adding dice for each crit result this round. While another character has his brother Daniel token, that character does not add dice to its attack, defense, or dodge rolls when adding dice for crits results this round. So
you either get double crits or they get no crits.
For free if you're playing Doc Voodoo.
I think this is pretty trash.
Yeah.
I mean, if it was just add a die, sure, I'm in. But if it's add a die for every crit, literally could not care.
Yeah, that's...
If your problem is I'm rolling too many crits,
And
then I think you'll just
I'm not getting
be
any
fucking
value out of
okay.
all these crits. If only I could get
Guys,
double value.
My War Machine is only rolling 2 extra dice per crit. How am I going to play this game? Like,
Yeah.
grow up.
Yeah.
That's a really corner case card that, it will never get played. But when it does, it'll be really funny, because I imagine a role where you're sitting there against She-Hulk or Thanos or something, and it was like the last-ditch effort, and you're like, I'm playing Seance, motherfucker. And sure enough, someone throws like 3 crits out on you. You're like, oh my god, you just killed him.
Yeah, this is going to be like that Deadpool Bane corner case.
Yeah.
Where you're like, hey, Bob, that card's not any good. He's like, yeah, it's good, trust me. And you're like, it's not good. And like, oh, fine, whatever, he plays it. And they're like, all right, I play Seance 4 crits. And you're like, and he's like, look, I got 12 dice in my pool. I'm like, yeah, dude, that's not how this works.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's not confirmation bias.
Yeah.
And so I just feel like that's going to happen with this card. And every time you tell someone it's not good, it will work that one time and then screw them.
That's the magic of Seance. Yeah.
I've really warmed up to this Brother Daniel, though. I'm very excited.
Yeah.
With this whole idea of a best friend club. Like, he's with his friend and Brother Daniel's all doing this stuff, but we've never met him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know, there's something about it that's
I have this feeling that Jeremy, I have this feeling that you are going to play so much Doc Voodoo. I have this weird feeling that he's going to become like your new fave, and you're going to be like nothing but Doc Voodoo all the time. It's going to be, okay, I'm list building, Doc Voodoo goes in, and then I'll put something else in. Like that's.
Well, yeah, because he'll make a model and just like, okay, he's going to go over there and deal with you.
Make a token?
He's just obnoxious.
Yeah.
I'm very excited to play Convocation.
Yeah.
Convocation when they come out, because I just like very intricate models that have lots of abilities.
Mm-hmm.
I don't necessarily need them to be like really, really expensive models, but I like really intricate models. And so I'm going to be all in. But I cannot wait for tournament games when my opponent is trying to figure out what I can do. And I'm like, I can do anything.
Yeah.
Yep.
Don't worry about it. Literally anything could happen. Your guy might turn into a frog. We don't know.
Yeah.
Like, you just have to move on. Whatever happens. Just make a decision. It's like playing Mercenaries back in the day with War Machine. And they're like, what does your stuff do? And you just hand them 34 cards.
Yeah.
You're like, it says in those 19 paragraphs what my stuff does.
Yeah.
And you're like, it's like, I'm not trying to be an asshole. I understand this is unfair. But if I try and explain it to you and I mess something up, it will be worse for me. So unfortunately, you just have to try and figure it out.
Playing Convocation, even though there's lots of character and convolution in this game, I think playing Convocation will be like playing the A-Team. Like, all of them do 80 things. They're all men and women of mystery. Who knows what could happen next? They're all, but what's happening over here? What about this? I love when a plan comes together. It's all going to be that moment when everything meets. For what it's worth, you can play Hood's Gang and Plaintiff Poldark on the same list. I don't know if you want to, but you could definitely make a lot of rerolls happen in Convocation if you really, really wanted to. So this was actually, I feel like these tactics cards are big, clickbait. They are really big. Let's go try Dark Dimension. Let's try Convocation. Let's try Hood. That's pretty cool. They're dropping bombs with some of these tactics cards.
And they haven't even done their 3-day spectacular that's coming up. This is just all stuff that's out now. Like, they're about to unleash another freaking 20 models or something on us.
So, speaking of 20 models on us, only one that matters.
Wait.
Oh.
Time out.
Oh.
I had something I wanted to bring up.
Okay.
Did you guys see the new, what's it called? I want to get this right. It's not format, it's like, the new icon on the tactics cards, the release set
the set,
the wave. I guess it's the third wave symbol. It looks like the criminal syndicate symbol. Did you guys notice that?
Yes, I did.
Okay,
there's no longer Spider-Man.
We talked about it.
Yep.
So we've moved past, because the original one was the Web Warrior symbol, and then it was the X-Men symbol. And now we're moving into the criminal syndicate symbols.
Yeah. Has anyone ever said anything about why that even changes? Other than that, there may be some use for it in the future, maybe?
They've talked about how they're going to do a limited format that involves only allowing cards from a certain release cycle. And those release cycles we've been inferring are these symbols on the tactics cards. Mm-hmm. So we could run a limited format at the store and say only X-Men symbol cards are legal. And so you'd only have to worry about tactics cards from that section, which is why they're reprinting some of the more basic cards like 1-2 Punch and
Grievous
Advanced
Wounds,
R&D, Recalibration Matrix, Grievous Wounds.
Evo.
I mean, of the cards we've talked about, Grievous Wounds is not the worst. It is just the worst.
Yeah. It feels the worst. It's not the worst.
Yeah. I'm not saying it's the worst. It's the worst. Like, okay. You know what I'm saying.
Yes.
All right. So that's one thing I wanted to bring up before we moved on to the next segment, which is news.4.1.2.
Yeah. So the most important news of the day for this guy is Iron Man, Hulkbuster, and we don't know what we're going to call him. Maybe it's going to be Invincible Iron Man if they're following the same pattern of naming it after comics.
I know.
Did we already know his name?
We do know his name.
What?
Oh, I don't know if this was intended to be released, but I'm looking at it on their website right now.
Oh God.
So, when you mentioned earlier about card bloat, the reason I said you obviously don't know, they have the box sets up in their gallery online, and you can click on box contents. So the Doc Voodoo and the Hood come with 3 character stat cards.
Right.
Iron Man and Hulkbuster come with 1 stat card. So I'm pretty sure this is going to be a transform, or on injured side he becomes Hulkbuster.
Yep.
And it specifically, if you go to the gallery under the pictures, there is Iron Man parentheses Hulkbuster, and then there is Hulkbuster as the 2 models.
Yeah.
And so I'm pretty sure it's going to be Iron Man healthy side, and then when he gets injured, he flips to Hulkbuster.
Or maybe the opposite. Like, does he pop out and turn into Hulkbuster? Like, he's Hulkbuster
Could be.
first.
Maybe you're buying
then...
Hulkbuster, and then he ejects. It's
Yeah.
entirely possible.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, most characters get stronger on the backside.
Right.
So I'm assuming that it would be, oh no, I have to... Well, hold on. Interesting you say this right now. I'm going to look at this, because as a 3D render... He's flying over a wreck pile, so maybe it's the Iron Man or the Hulkbuster is wrecked.
Yeah, that was my thought that it would probably be, because he would use the Hulkbuster first, and then when that fails, he keeps fighting. But
it looks resembling like the shoulder piece of the Hulkbuster.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I was getting super psyched about the idea of him being Iron Man and then changing. That would be so awesome. He's got 3 health.
Well, I think that's...
I'm going to stand here.
Iron Man stands on the central point. What would you like to do? Get angry and curse? Like, yep, eat it. I was kind of hoping there would be a tactics card like I'm calling in Veronica or something.
Yeah.
And you would just have to pay like 8 or 10 power to transform into Hulkbuster.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm totally fine with it being like a guaranteed thing that happens. Having it take up a tactics slot would make it very hard to future-proof, because we already have a very hard choke point on tactics cards. So reducing your total tactics allotment would be annoying. And so long-term, that would be hard to balance. But yeah, I'm very excited for Hulkbuster.
Yeah. Anybody fans of the podcast know that I know that Iron Man was in the core set, and so they couldn't make him super cool. But I have more Iron Man comics than any other single character in the Marvel Universe. I wanted a Tony Stark acting like an absolute badass, so I love they went with this. I actually thought it was going to be... I didn't know they were going to do this, because this is old hat, you know? This was Age of Ultron. What is it, like 6 years ago or 9 years ago, something like that now? Some nutty number of years since Age of Ultron came out.
Hulkbuster is ageless.
Yes. 2015, so yeah, that was 6 years ago. So, but Hulkbuster as a concept is super ancient. So I am so excited they decided to do this. I thought Ironheart was actually going to come out before another Iron Man, because Ironheart the show was slated to come out in the MCU. We probably will still get an Ironheart, but I love this so much.
Yeah, I'm sure we will, with Armor Wars coming out vaguely soon.
For those that haven't seen how big this model is, find the comparison. You got Dormammu and Hulkbuster standing there, and Hulkbuster's actually a little bigger.
Yeah, well, it's because he's like flying.
Yeah,
he's
but still,
not
that's
a
crazy.
small individual. It's going to be probably the most commanding model on the table.
So we'll have another $80 model along with another $80 model.
I think Hulkbuster will be 65. Dormammu comes with 2 terrain pieces, don't forget.
Mm-hmm.
I have no problem with it. That's fine.
Yeah. No, I know you're not complaining about the monetary investment, because we're all idiots and spend any amount of money.
Exactly.
But I'm just saying, like, Dormammu not only comes with the Dormammu raid like materials, which takes R&D and production costs to put in the box, but he also has 2 large terrain pieces with him,
which are pretty cool looking. Actually, I like them.
Right, and so that's going to add like $20 to $30 to the kit just for the raid stuff, and so I get that.
I would pay any amount of money for Hulkbuster Iron Man.
Any amount.
$6,000.
Shut up and take my money. I don't care.
That would be one of the things Parker would have to explain to his wife over a really nice dinner.
Yeah. I would put it
It's like, honey, by the way, we can't afford to pay for this. But
I'd put it in the middle of the table and say, we can't eat any of this food, but look what I made.
Yeah.
I already got my
And then the
Christmas
waitress-
present for myself.
Yeah.
That's the standard.
Iron
The waitress
Man.
comes over. It's like, what can I get you? It's like, we'll just take the bread and the water. Thanks.
I am Iron Man. I am so excited.
So I don't know if you guys have looked, but if you go onto the gallery, it has it sorted by Crisis Protocol number, which is the SKU number or manufacturer code.
Mhm.
It is CP52, which comes in just before Jean Grey and Cassandra Nova. So based on where it is in the release schedule, we actually might expect this to be released fairly soon.
Yeah. Well, I know everything got pushed back recently, but we know almost we don't know the new Doctor Strange box, but that's what we're missing from Convocation, right? So it's
We don't have a release date for it, but it's on the gallery. It's CP67. It's the latest SKU number we have on the website.
yeah. So man, he could come out. Oh man, he can't come out fast enough.
Yeah, so all the Convocation people are last. They're the farthest things out on the release schedule or not release schedule, but the product code number, which gives you a general idea of what order they were designed in. And the only stuff that isn't out that comes before Hulkbuster, and the box just says Hulkbuster on the front. It does not say Iron Man and Hulkbuster.
Right.
It just says Hulkbuster. The only things that are before it that are not out yet, which is Mysterio and Carnage, which comes out this week, and Moon Knight and Blade, which will be coming out, I think, next month. Everything else is already out that is CP before it.
Oh man.
I guess technically Spider-Man and Black Cat, but again, they come out this week.
I'm excited about Amazing Spider-Man, and I was excited the moment I found out about him because I wanted to beat him up Spider-Man. But there hasn't been in the game a model in this game, a big guy. I haven't fallen in love with a big guy yet. I am really excited to fall in love with this very big guy. I want it really bad. I'm pumped.
Model, potato. Model.
Yeah. I want it. So that was news. Oh my god.
There's a little bit of
So
news.
much news.
Oh boy. All right. So next segment coming up, we have currently playing. Parker is not going to speak for this segment because he's a total horrible person.
I am a horrible person.
Nope. No speaking.
Oh, sorry.
Jeremy, what have you been playing lately?
Let's see. Last week I played a bunch of models with Jean Grey. Whatever I was doing
Nice.
or trying to maintain doesn't matter. It was a collection of mess, and Jean Grey did stuff.
I remember looking at your list and I was very confused.
Oh, it was a face roll. It was a face roll across the keyboard kind of list. I was just like, She-Hulk plus Jean Grey is probably okay, and like it was a mess.
People have totally said that sentence before. It's not just you.
Okay, good. But yeah, I was basically playing a list so I could look at Jean Grey and see what actually works and doesn't. But
It's basically just shotgun approach, Jean Grey and models, and see if you find anything.
yes, that's what I did.
We call that panning for gold.
I
If
did.
I play here with every model in the game, surely I'll notice some good interaction.
hmm Basically.
The interaction I've noticed with Jean Grey is people like to complain about gluing her together. That's the interaction I've noticed.
She is on one of the most stupidest stands ever. As much as we hate these stupid rocks they do, I can tell you I hate the consummate X or whatever the shit is. That thing is stupid. Ugh.
I believe they described it in the panel play as a wave of psychic energy.
It's a wave of bullshit. It's so stupid.
Well, you see, they had to have the character named Jean floating over an X because she has the X gene, which allows her to use her mutant power.
X
Did
gene.
you never notice that?
Womp, womp, womp,
Did
womp,
you
womp.
never notice that?
Mm.
I thought that was intentional. They wanted the poster child of the X-Men to be the character whose name is the thing that gives them their powers.
Cool.
Parker, do you have something to say?
Oh, God.
We missed a news, just so you know.
We did miss the news. Okay.
We missed a news. I just saw it because
There's like
I went
something new we just found on the webs?
I just saw it. We missed a news.
I don't have internet, so you're going to have to let me know what it says.
It's the affiliation list. The affiliation list is new. It changed.
Oh. What? That's an old update, isn't it?
Not since we did not talk about this last episode.
Okay, I just had it pulled up. Let me pull it up.
They added the Dompier into 3 different things. They added Dark Dimension and Midnight Suns, so we know who's in the Midnight Suns. Web Warriors got bigger as well.
I think we knew all this
Yeah,
stuff.
we knew all this. We might not have talked about it last week.
Oh, okay. I did not know that we knew about it on the podcast.
Yeah, I knew about it. We might not have talked about it.
Okay.
So obvious Midnight Suns is Blade, Black Cat, Doctor Strange, Doctor Voodoo, Ghost Rider, Iron Fist, and Moon Knight. And this is when I brought up to Jeremy, Doctor Strange does not have a subtitle, so all Doctor Stranges are Doctor Stranges as far as we can tell.
Mm-hmm.
Unless this means that they're not even adding the new Doctor Strange to the affiliation list yet, and then maybe Sorcerer Supreme will be the next one, who knows.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, wait, he's got a release box. Let me check. What is I think he's just called Doctor Strange on the box.
Doctor Strange, yep.
This.
Nope, no.
Okay.
Not an abbreviation. Spell out Doctor and Strange, his last name.
Yeah. Maybe it'll be Dr. Strange.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as I can tell, it looks like there'll be the first character that's truly interchangeable in title. Because Black Widow and Agent Widow have different titles, but also like it'd be impossible to tell them apart on paper.
Mm-hmm.
Because they don't put a picture of the tactics of the card. Right. And so if it's Doctor Strange, Stephen Vincent Strange on both cards, they're the same model.
Yes.
Legally. And so that's going to be a nightmare. So we don't know how they're going to tell them apart.
Yeah.
It's got to be like Sorcerer Supreme or something like that.
Yeah. They put Black Cat in Midnight Suns. I'm not sure exactly why. I guess she's a character that goes out at night, but
yeah.
At
all
midnight?
the other ones make a lot of sense. At midnight.
With her son.
But she's
not a son.
But she's a daughter.
She has sons.
She's the only daughter in the only girl in the group. Okay.
Maybe she's just friends with one of them.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Speaking of friends, Spider-Man and friends got a new friend with Moon Knight. He's also pretty strong, so more Web Warriors, more Moon Knight.
Oh my god.
Cool. I cannot imagine playing Moon Knight in fucking Web Warriors. We already have one bad fucking baton wielder. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Actually, Moon Knight, I believe, is good. I think Moon Knight's going to actually come out and
shut up.
Start some shit.
I think Moon Knight is going to start some shit. I actually am excited to play Moon Knight and the new Amazing Spider-Man. We found out that Moon Knight's also in the Defenders, which is fine. More 3-point guys in Defenders is probably good.
It's definitely good for the faction.
Yeah. Also, the Dhampir is in the Defenders. And the Dhampir also, I actually really like this. He's in the Avengers. He's the first rando Avenger that is actually also in the canon. He is actually an Avenger currently in the Marvel comics. So,
can you explain to me how you're a rando and also a actual member? How does that work?
So there was this moment in the Avengers not too long ago where instead of making Earth's mightiest heroes, Tony Stark and Steve and Rogers got this idea that they were going to get bigger. Like the problems that were arising on Earth were getting so big, the Avengers needed to be bigger. So they started this concept called Avengers World, which is instead of Earth just being a place that is protected by the Avengers, it's the Avengers place. Do not fuck with it. And even though the Avengers World was part of, as actually part of the big story that ended up ending the last reset for the Marvel Universe, they haven't quit the whole Avengers World theme in the current Marvel Universe. And so basically every time the Avengers get a new friend, they make him a card-carrying member of the Avengers. So Blade, the current incarnation of Blade, which is not the Blade... Ghost Rider is actually also a card-carrying member. And
that's 2.
I know! Damn it, I was hoping you didn't catch it.
I wasn't sure if that's why you said damn.
I actually wasn't thinking of the Dhampir. I was thinking Ghost Rider. I just said his name.
You actually said the wrong name for the
I said the wrong name for the character I was thinking of. So, like, Ghost Rider is currently an Avenger. He's actually a major player Avenger right now. And the Dhampir is an Avenger.
Ghost Rider is an Avenger?
Mm-hmm. The current Ghost Rider, who is not Jonathan Blaze. It's a different person. Different
you mean Johnny Blaze?
Not Johnny Blaze. He's not. Every time I say Johnny Blaze, I have to say it in the Mortal Kombat theme guy's voice in my head. Because there's Johnny Cage and Sonya Blade, and I always just put them together as
Blade,
Johnny
he
Blaze.
Said Blade. 185.
I didn't. I have to be able to
185.
say other characters. I was not talking about the Dompier. I was not talking about Wesley Snipes.
Who were you talking about?
Sonya.
Sonya who?
I'm going to do it. I'm going to say it because I don't think it's legitimate that I get negative for saying Sonya Blade. I have to be able to talk about.
186.
I have to be able to talk about the amazing figure skating spoof movie starring Will Ferrell, Blades of Glory. I have to be able
Well,
to
that's
say
not Blade. That's
Blade.
Blades.
Oh, I guess you're right.
It's a different letter.
Yeah, totally.
Now,
that
if
makes
it was
perfect sense.
apostrophe S, I would nail you for that.
The Bladeses.
Yeah.
We're losing our
Jeremy-
Kazakhstan viewers.
Let's keep
Are
going.
we? You think so?
So
We lost.
those are the new
Yeah.
Those are the new affiliations. Those are new affiliations. That's what we. Last
Yeah,
bit of
I
news.
I assume everyone knows about the affiliations, and even if they don't, no one gives a shit about Midnight Suns, so, you know. Not news.
Oh, zing!
All right. So we were talking about currently playing. Jeremy was talking about how he loves playing with Jean Grey.
I actually, I'm sorry we took a sidestep there for my news, but I actually was curious. What did you learn about Jean Grey? Because I also am excited to see what Jean Grey does. What does she do?
It's very specific to matchups. She can shut down some serious business, but she also it costs a lot of power for her to do her shtick, and you kind of need her to do everything. We might talk about her again later. She's got a lot going on, and I'm not sure it's worth it. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. I'm just not sure it's worth it. But there's a lot of tactics cards that she kind of unlocks. So maybe, again, it's like, how deep does this go? I don't know. I really don't know. She's not a plug and play like Scarlet Witch is plug and play. Like, she does a thing and you're like, okay, this one can do this real good, and you just do it. Jean has much shit going on.
She obviously is the counter to the board controls,
Mhm.
but I don't know if she has enough power on her own to actually stop it. She just slows it down. So you have to like pick and choose. Kind of like with No More Mutants with Scarlet Witch, you have to kind of pick and choose what you're gonna stop.
Mm-hmm.
But having the threat of being able to stop it makes your opponent think a lot more. So it adds that layer of protection. But I don't know if it's, you can't just say I can't be moved, because I don't think that's what it does. It says you can stop the most important.
Yeah, and it doesn't stop throws. There's a lot. There's actually a bit of things that it doesn't stop that are really powerful, and you know it's very dependent. So she might be amazing. She might be okay. I don't know. 5 points is a lot to pay for a character that is great sometimes.
Yeah, I think you'll see her mostly as a potential counter to stuff like Black Order. But I think she'll be mostly in your roster as a bluff that you'll play her if I think you're going to play board control. Because there's that big, if you do this, then I'll do this, but it's all simultaneous secret reveal. So you can't really be like, well, if you take Black Order, then I'll do this. You have to play something else. It's like, well, I mean, but neither of you know what the other one's going to take. So if you take Jean Grey and they do change, then you're screwed. And if you don't take Jean Grey and they don't change, you're screwed. So it's just this big, like, list chicken kind of situation. So talking about board control, I've been playing Web Warriors, and they're fun. I like moving people's stuff, not letting them do what they want. It's pretty cool. I've been very much enjoying Mr. Sinister with them. He's a solid beater that also moves people sometimes. Pretty cool.
Do you play the whole Sinister package, the card package?
He's just a 4-point drop in. No, I don't need more models. I'm not trying to kill anybody. I'm just trying to never die and move stuff. Cool. All right, so quick topic today. We are going to do something Jeremy suggested, which is we're going to talk about some newer models that we think we are excited about trying, given the current meta. And so, like, for example, if there's something we've been kind of theory crafting, like maybe this will work, maybe this combination of old stuff and new stuff will bring about a new option that we haven't really discovered yet. And so we're kind of going to take turns going around and talking about stuff that we're excited to try. Jeremy, did you want to go first? Was there something specific that you were thinking about when you came up with this topic?
There was two. We kind of talked about one already, but I'll throw out my pick. For a 3-point model, I have a hard time looking past Lizard for what he is capable of and where he holds a spot. Just everything on his card is good, and like he's got to be good, right? Like that's my point. Like he's got to be good, and is he going to be like in everybody's list once they start playing him?
Dude, he's such a just wall of stats.
Like legitimately,
Yeah,
6 health, right? Like
yeah, it's he's beefy. I assumed everyone was going to play him when we first saw him. I was like, well, shit, like what the fuck's the point of Crossbones? Like this guy is so much better than Crossbones.
Yep. Also, an amazing rule on him, since he's usually he's a monkey, right? He just wanders around the battlefield, either holding points or picking up stuff and being difficult to remove. Wall crawler on that guy is so annoying because you need to be able to get him, and if he just double moves behind something and it takes you 2 turns to get to him, the game is over. Like whatever objectives he has, like he did it.
Oh yeah, if he starts collecting a bunch of the extracts, that's a problem.
Yeah.
I think you have to try and do something to prevent that beforehand. He's not particularly fast, and he doesn't generate a lot of power. And so I don't know that that's going to be a really great option. What I've noticed is he's kind of ignorable. Like, if you just don't fuck with him, then he doesn't do a lot. I made the mistake in my first game. It wasn't really a mistake. I overcommitted in my first game against him, and I went all out trying to kill him. And I was like, what am I missing? Like, I'm about to kill him, but I feel like he has, like, some kind of reaction or something that I'm about to trigger that I don't know about. So whenever I read his card, I'm like, oh, I should have just ignored this guy. And he's like, yeah, probably. I was like, oh, damn it. Like, what have I done? And so I gave him all this power, and he ended up dying, so it didn't matter, but I had him super juiced up. He was ready to go. I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah, that in the game I played against him, he did accumulating a lot of stuff, but I waited on, he didn't get that, he didn't get all the he got like 3 objective tokens on turn 4, and he couldn't get away fast enough, so I basically waited till all the scary stuff was dead, and then 3 models piled on him, and he just died.
Yeah, he's not invincible. He's just beefy.
Yeah,
he seems like a really good 3-point criminal.
Mm-hmm. No, he's exactly what criminals want. So he's a great addition.
Yeah.
Is he a criminal?
Possibly.
Is he affiliated?
I don't know.
Nobody knows.
We don't even know. There's no way to know.
It doesn't matter because he's getting played with criminals.
He's fucking criminal.
He's not.
He's not. Okay. I just know there's a lot of Sinister Six in criminals, so I didn't know if he was one.
No, he's not. I think putting like Groot and Lizard in criminals is so mean. Just like, here, 2 more guys, really try to remove them, go for it.
Yeah.
Give it a shot. You go crazy.
Yeah, I think Lizard's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So that was kind of my thought. Yeah, that's what I was wanting to talk about, things like that, because none of us get to play 20 games a week, and
why not?
I wish. That's not how it works.
Dude, I'm finally off the point where I'm bored. Like, I actually have like new stuff to try now because my backlog's actually caught up to me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Parker, you're up next.
I am by far the most hyped, even though they're big shiny guns coming out and characters that I love. The model I'm most excited for right now to put into what I already like to do is Baron Mordo. I'm really excited to drop him into my X-Force list. He seems like he's really strong for brawlers, and I like models that can do a little bit while they are also supporting, and he seems to be a great combination of he's definitely going to be enhancing and enhancing your stuff, debuffing the enemy, but he's also going to be doing a little bit of chip damage. He's not just going to be a Wong who stands there and only supports, or a dog that stands there and only supports unless somebody wanders close enough for him to bite him. 3 different attacks, all wild push, a wild hex. He can automatically just gain power for an action, so he doesn't have to attack. He can just do it to start using his Ferocity of Sidorak, which is amazing in X-Force because everybody regenerates. So it's just extra attack dice, which they get to reroll at least 1 or pop off on wilds if you're Wolverine. Sabretooth goes crazy. Also, just dealing out other special conditions, and then dealing. It just so happens that in X-Force you incinerate a lot. You're constantly using the grenade from Domino and Cable's basic attack. So if somebody's incinerated, I don't know if he'll ever have 2 power to use it, but Soul Barb actually pops off, and then everybody gets incinerated around your initial target, basically turning your incinerates into AoEs. On top of all of that, if you try to push him, he can just go right back onto the point. So he's really great on being like a side point and just doing his thing.
His fancy shoes.
Yeah. I am really excited about him in X-Force specifically. I think he's right now. That's one of the things about X-Force is that they like X-Force characters. Like my X-Force is X-Force, but I will give serious consideration to Mordo in there instead of somebody like Deadpool, maybe, or Domino, maybe, or if you have an off game where you can't play the 4-cost character, you got to drop down to a 3-cost character. Then he would make an awesome add.
Yeah. I don't know if they necessarily want him because I think the strength of X-Force is that everyone fights.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that Baron Mordo doesn't like a bunch of healing factor people that like to stab. So it's going to be interesting if it skirts that fine line of if you're adding too much support or not enough. But yeah, I like it. I'm very excited for Mordo as well.
What about Mordo running around with She-Hulk? That'd be hilarious. You can't kill Mordo. Mordo's amping at her up. You come try and kill any of it, they just murder you back. Like that's Death Squad.
Oh, you're saying that he's got bodyguards?
Yeah, just a couple bodyguards in there, just amping it all up.
Maybe. I don't know if he'd keep up with her though. Maybe. I don't know if that would really work because at one point they're gonna have to separate when one of them activates. Because if you activate Mordo first, he either moves ahead of her. And then She-Hulk's going super late in the turn. I don't know, it might work.
I'm just thinking bodyguards because he's if he does try and get into it, like he'll die. Like he's pretty squishy.
He's actually not that squishy.
You don't think?
No, I mean, he's got 6 health on the front.
Yeah.
He's 11 hit points. And he's only 2 physical defense, but he's 4/4 on the other 2.
Yeah.
He's actually got above average defensive stats and above average hit points for a 3-pointer.
Right.
He's not a tank, but
He's only 3 points, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's not bad. I was just looking at the 2 physical. He doesn't have any like dice mods or whatever to help him. It's kind of like.
Well, let my good friend Rocket Raccoon tell you exactly how important 2 physical defense is.
Yes.
Not fucking at all.
I think he's going to be really excellent. I don't know how excellent he's going to be with a Tower of Power like a She-Hulk or a Magneto. I think he's going to be a little bit better if you go a little bit wider with really tough, really strong models.
A lot of mediums.
Yeah, like a lot of like X-Force would has a bunch of 4s, like maybe Asgard has a bunch of strong 4s that love to be in the front, but they want their activations to be much more valuable, and like I'm thinking Deadpool in my X-Force list almost always just stands there and bangs, which is probably not the best use of him, but it's what ends up happening because I needed somebody on a point contributing, and Mordo is going to be able to do exactly that. I think as long as you have other people up in front that are more scary than Mordo, I think people are going to choose other things. I think. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, I don't know if they'll go after Mordo, but I think Mordo is very good in. If you're gonna play him with elite models, they need to be elite models that really exploit more attack dice. So I'm thinking like Brotherhood, because Brotherhood getting Magneto or Scarlet Witch 2 extra attack dice is pretty premium,
right?
And they don't really care about the 1 damage. You also have Sabretooth available, who also likes extra dice and doesn't care about the damage. But they also I was just gonna say they put out a lot of debuffs as well, and so having a lot of negative effects that you can spread around with him is also pretty cool.
Also, the fact that you could pass him a power or 2 means that he doesn't have to attack to get his or use his Master of the Occult to get power. Maybe he gets to do more things. Maybe.
Alrighty, so that was Baron Mordo. So I guess it's my turn. I'm just waiting for Doom. I'm just waiting for Doom.
Ha 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 ha.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Interesting. So something I've been kind of playing with in my head that I haven't really worked out at all. I'm going to try and do an Omega Red centric list.
Mm-hmm.
Because he has Death Factor, which is just auto 2 damage to enemies within 2 with poison. This character, I didn't realize he actually hurt himself.
Yes, it does. It hurts him.
This character and enemy characters within 2 with the poison condition suffer 2 damage in order of your choosing. Don't choose yourself.
Yeah.
Ugh. And then he can drain life people. Alright, well, the drain life helps. That's so funny. I didn't realize the death factor did damage to himself.
Yes,
so
it does.
Stupid.
Explain why it does.
Whatever.
I kept reading that.
Because the ability says this character and enemy characters within 2 of it suffer 2 damage if they have poison. I get if he's not wait, no.
How would he have poison?
This character and enemy characters within 2 of it
with the
poison. Yeah, no. So it's separate qualifiers. This model, comma, and enemy characters within 2 that have poison.
Right.
So he takes 2 even if nobody's around and you use it. Don't use it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then you could theoretically attack these people and then get your power back or get your health back. It's so stupid.
Yeah.
I'm still gonna do it. Whatever. How does he not have 4 physical defense? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, he does have the damage reduction, so there's that. But yeah.
I wish his damage reduction said from any source, and so it worked on ally stuff, so he only took 1 from Death Factor. That could be cool. Whatever. Alright, I'm still gonna try it. Yeah, I want to try like an auto damager list. So I'm gonna do this with like either Punisher or Mystique, and I'll and probably throw in like Green Goblin. Those are like surprise, everyone's gonna just auto die.
Those are all criminals except Punisher. So if you wanted to for some reason.
Yeah, it would probably be criminals, but I don't know. We'll see. I think we're gonna have probably 1 more auto damager fairly soon. Or is it it's Mysterio, right? Mysterio's also a criminal.
Yes, he is, but does he auto damage? I don't remember that.
No, but he has tricks and traps,
and
so he can damage people that move in close.
That's right.
And so you can put him right behind Omega Red, and that way when they walk in, they get poisoned and might take just flat damage. And then my turn, I just do 2 more damage to you, and you're just like, I just took 4 damage for no reason. It's like, yep, that is correct.
That is the fact that you can just say no dice to do that much is really scary to a lot of characters, like to Magnetos and things like that. I have 6 health on the front side. We're going to go on the back side really fast.
It's like, I'm not even going to fight you. I'm just going to watch you die. And so the funny part will be, it'll be such a deterrent to walk up and attack me that you'll just win points because people don't want to walk over and stand next to you. It's like Omega Red's just like, I'm on this point. He's like, well, I'll come contest it. Why?
Yeah.
It's like, you just want to die for no reason.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you know, but just to say it out loud, why poison initially kind of is a terrible, stupid effect. Except on Omega Red, it's fine. Because normally you get poison when you get punched in the face, and you also gain a bunch of power. So it doesn't help you nearly, it doesn't hinder you nearly as much as Omega Red. When Omega Red, you just move up and you're poisoned. So you're not necessarily damaged by that. So your turn starts and you lose power. So usually it's like a big gift. You're like, oh, here's a bunch of power and poison. Ta-da!
Yeah,
and
except
it doesn't matter.
now you're poisoned without taking any damage, so now you're just netting negative power already.
Yes.
And then, if I end up hurting you with Death Factor if I want to, then sure. But if I'm going to kill you with Death Factor, you're going to get dazed. You'll never pay for Death Factor and then not knock them out. Like, they'll get knocked down regardless. Because you just wouldn't do it if it wasn't, the math didn't work out.
Yep. So yeah, poison with this guy's pretty cool. I just wonder how good Drain Life is, like how long this guy can live.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. But if Groot's standing behind him, probably a while.
Groot. Oh my god. Okay, that's the word of the day, Groot. You all have said him way too many times. I don't know how this happened.
Groot.
Oh no.
He's coming back.
The stock is up. Bye.
Do we want to go around one more time? Is that enough?
Yeah, I like that.
You want to keep going?
I don't. Well, you kind of talked about a list based on him. I have another list, just very quickly.
Okay.
I was, So you have basically all the effects that happen on a dazed model. So something with new Captain America, Captain Sam.
Mm-hmm.
You have Punisher, so you get tokens. And the amount of things you can stack with other characters you pile in that list to try and, I mean, Hela gets tokens. Like how many things can you gain with souls? Wait, no, she doesn't. She doesn't
do it off of dazed people.
No. So what are there's a few other ones that you can pile in.
Okay, so the thing we were looking at is you do like Ghost Rider and
bunch of threes.
Who's the other resurrect person?
Hmm?
Aren't there two people that play a card to come back to? Oh, last minute save. That was the other one.
Yeah.
Last minute save and deal with the devil. You die on both, and then on deal with the devil, the other person also dies.
Mm-hmm.
And so you end up triggering multiple effects off of basically one instance. And then you play all you've got, so you can intentionally daze your own person if you just want to get an extra trigger out of it right now. Yeah.
It just seems like there might be something there that might be fun. It's one of those where I always enjoyed playing lists like that when it comes to either, War Machine or Magic or whatever, where you get bonuses when your opponent kills your model, so it doesn't feel bad. It actually feels pretty good. You're like, come on in.
Hedging your bets.
Yep, come on in, do something. I'm about to do 4 cool things. So I think that list might be interesting. So I think there's a few models that do that. But yeah, that's about it.
Cool. Parker, do you have another one?
I think my next one that I'm really excited for is actually Amazing Spider-Man. On the theme of having to build a list around him, I am excited to see exactly how do you leverage his team affiliation to make it the best. The idea of giving out slow is fine, but how do you get? Do you want them to be placed within one, and if so, how do you get multiple slows out there? I'm not sure if you sell out for the affiliation or you just play Web Warriors like you always play Web Warriors, and just instead of the other Spider-Man, you put an Amazing Spider-Man. It's more of a punchy one. I don't even know if you just keep playing Miles because he's so amazing for 3 points, and you just put Miles and use that team affiliation because it's so, it's a passive bonus, right? It's just always going to help. Whereas this one seems like you might work way too hard to make it happen. But I love the Amazing Spider-Man model, even without his team affiliation. He's great, and that's one of my favorite things in the game is when there's a great character that just happens to have a team affiliation also to play. So I don't know.
I think you're gonna if you're putting Amazing Spider-Man in your squad, I think he's your leader. Period. I don't even think it's a question. I do think Miles is still on your roster, and I think he makes your squad a decent amount of the time.
Mm-hmm.
I think it just becomes you play all webbed up just like you would normally play it, except also it has a secondary option now of if I want to, I can just spend 1 power to get you off the point. Like if I've done all this and it looks like I've come up short on killing you, I now just spend 1 power and you're not there anymore. And so it gives them a secondary board control option. And if you think about it like that, let me just double read this. Yeah, so you could, if you had 4 power on somebody, you could double move and get anyone off a point. Because there's no size restriction.
Yep.
It's like, I double move here, I spend 3 power to play all webbed up, I spend 1 power, you're gone. And you're obviously going to try and place it to where you hit multiple people. Because off of a medium base like Amazing Spider-Man, you can probably hit multiple points.
Right.
And so you can move up, all right, these 3 characters now have slow. Second move over to here, this guy's not on the point. Activate somebody else, move them over, this guy's not on a point.
Mm-hmm.
Then use, impact webbing or whatever to move them off, or web line or whatever the situation is.
Right.
Like it adds even more board control options that you can't stop.
So because of that, we used to, run things like Hawkeye in Web Warriors because he had place effects, he was extra mobile, and he could pass out, debilitating effects. Is one of those slow? Does the Hawkeye? I'm looking for him.
Hawkeye can give slow.
Hawkeye can get slow. Do you still do you run characters that have slow on purpose so you don't have
no.
So it's not a 1-turn thing?
No. Hawkeye, if you want to deal damage, sure, but he doesn't do anything else that your guys want.
Right.
Like if all you care about was slow, then I guess that's okay. But there's got to be somebody else that does slow, right?
That's what I've been trying to figure out.
I don't know. It seems very not good to include a 3-point character that just adds slow sometimes.
Right.
Because if that was your argument, you would just take Gwen or Miles instead and have them apply slow with the leadership ability.
Right.
Like you would never include another model that randomly applies slow.
Mm-hmm.
If it was every attack applied slow, I could see that.
That's actually what I was looking for. I was thinking, obviously, yes, you can have models that just go ahead and can apply slow using the ability. It's not like you can't spend 1 power to apply slow to somebody. That by itself means you can get slow twice. But I was trying to find any other characters in the game that are going to be able to slow while they're also doing the thing that they do, so they're not spending power or getting out of position. And I was having a hard time. Slow is not super common in the game, except for like grab bag folks like Crystal and Hawkeye, who can kind of choose their favorite thing. There's not.
I believe Star-Lord can.
Yep. It's funny. There's no like slow. Like purposely slow themed person, like some characters.
Oh, Thanos! Just add in Thanos.
Oh, what was I thinking?
Just have him yeet blaster people and see if he gets a random wild. It's
Right.
and they're like, "What are you doing?" It's like, "Well, I needed to apply slow, so I figured a 9-point model throwing a 5 dice attack was probably worth it on a wild."
Got him.
Like you could have bought 3 Hawkeyes. Like, no, you can't. You can only take 1 Hawkeye, idiot. You're like, I guess you win. That's how this conversation goes.
Yeah, so I guess I love Amazing Spider-Man, but I'm looking for the obvious way to use his ability, and I guess that's what you just described as the obvious way. You're just going to end up slowing somebody twice with the tactics card or 2 different characters to make sure you move them 1. And that's what
you know
do.
how you do this? You know who you take to put slow on people?
Hmm.
Fucking Toad. That's who you take to put slow on people.
I feel like this is a gag.
No, because you just take him in Web Warriors, and he gets to put slow on people for 1 power.
Yeah, but why Toad especially?
Because he's a 2-point model that has scenario rules and wall crawler.
That's true.
Those are all of the reasons.
Mm-hmm.
He has the best stat line of a 2-point model, and he can do everything within range 2. He's mobile. Like, that's it. It's not complicated. He also can incinerate people if you want to go for the kill 'em plan. It's like, oh, they ran up to my Toads. Like, cool, I acid spit you, I slow you, and I move the fuck away.
Right.
Next action, Venom eats you. Like, oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
It's like, -1 die, no rerolls, here's 12 dice, we are Venom. You're like, I've done better things with my life.
Yep. Also, since you're automatically running, 5-point Spider-Man, having a 2-pointer in there that you can count on to play most of the time is going to be key.
I'm playing him right now, and a person who can interact with objectives at range 2 is pretty handy.
Yeah.
And again, another cheap model lets you go wide really easily, which helps you keep from getting priority, because you don't want priority, you want to go last with Web Warriors.
Mm-hmm.
So having a wider roster helps with that.
Yeah. Which is harder to do when Spider-Man costs 5. That was the best thing about Web Warriors before, is that they were so cheap for their cadre. I am really surprised. For listeners who've been listening for a long time, or people who know Brandon personally, the fact that I hear him talking about Toad in a positive light is a shift. I feel like a paradigm shift.
No, he's a piece of shit. No, as long as I don't paint him, I just see him as this blob of gray that has rules, which is why I will probably never paint him. Just because I can accept a blob of gray that has good rules.
As soon as he becomes
I cannot abide playing Toad.
As soon as he becomes Mortimer Toynbee, you're gonna be like, well, shit.
Exactly.
Can't do this anymore. Nice while it lasted.
Mm-hmm.
Jeremy, you ready for a hot take, Jeremy? I want to know. Can you put Daredevil in Web Warriors with Amazing Spider-Man? Can you put a 4-pointer?
I hate you so much. I hate you. Just shut up.
Can you do it?
No. You cannot.
No. I
no.
don't think so.
Why?
Don't do it.
I'm not going
I'm
to.
confused. Why?
I'm not going to.
Because Daredevil's horrible.
Am I out of... Oh, he is horrible. I tried to tell you that, and you're like, no, he's really good. And then you played him against me, and you're like, this guy is dog shit. I believe he made 0 attacks and died in 2.
He might have made an attack on himself, trying to kill himself.
Yeah. He tried to swallow his baton while he was being murdered.
Oh, man.
Oh,
What a world! He was just like blindly wandering around the map.
blindly.
Don't talk about him. He's handicapped.
Get it?
That's on the
Blindly.
nose.
He can't see very well. He's a lawyer. There's all kinds of rules. he
Justice is blind, bro.
Just-
So is fucking Matt Murdock.
has. Look,
Ooh.
it's Hell's Kitchen. It's like a tough place to be or something.
All right. So I guess it's me, right? It's
You,
back to me.
you get one more.
All right. I'm just waiting for Doom. Just
Stop it.
Just Doom. I want to play Doom.
Listen to the pre-ramble if you want to know why he keeps saying
no,
that.
They'll listen. They'll listen at the end. It's fine. I don't know. I mean, I'm obviously excited to play Hulkbuster. We know what he does. I guess I want to play Convocation, like for the reasons I said before.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the only thing I've actually been thinking about, like technically, is Dormammu and Thanos. I'm gonna play a lot of Dormammu and Thanos when they come out. I'm not kidding at all. I'm actually gonna do.
Oh, I'm
that,
sure
man.
you are.
I think it's gonna be fun.
You're going to go Lord Bros. You need to like.
I'm going to.
You need to
I'm
mod.
going to Omega Beam fucking everybody.
You need to mod Thanos, turn his hand sideways, and see if you get Dormammu with like a closed fist, so you can put them next to each other, so they like fist
They're
tap,
both doing
like
fist
like fist bump.
Thanos is like reaching way up.
Yeah. Oh, what we need to do is we need a Dormammu who's like got his hand outstretched. It looks like he's like grabbing for something, and a Thanos who's doing the same thing. So when you put their models together, they do the Predator like arm grab, the muscly arm grab meme.
I don't think you're comprehending this difference in
I
their
know.
size.
I know.
Dormammu's gonna be like on one knee,
I just
reaching
need
out.
I just need Dormammu to see Thanos in a game and go, "You son of a bitch!" and like clasp hands. I need it to happen. I feel
They're gonna
like
do the flex hand grab.
yeah, that's what I mean.
From Predator.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I need. The Dormammu, Thanos, bromance. That's what I need.
Oh my
It's
god!
like little brother
Yeah.
from Strong Bad.
Yeah.
All I know what I'm gonna do is I'm going to
Little
use
brother.
Cosmic Portal to place Dormammu, which sounds fun because he's enormous.
Uh-huh.
So he's just gonna teleport all around the battlefield because he gets to place within range 2 twice a turn. And then Dormammu's going to yeet blaster somebody, and he's gonna get Death's Decree, and it's just gonna obliterate them. it's like moving the fucking Gustav gun into position, and then just fucking making a crater in the ground. You're like, I got him. You're like, that was Wasp. It's like, I don't care, whatever. Like, that's how the game will go. It's just like I will vaporize some random model and then say your turn.
You're like, at 17, I've got this. At 18,
Yeah.
Space Stone. Fuck it.
Yeah. Fucking
Does-
Space Stone.
Oh, okay.
I really need to move fucking Dormammu 3 times.
Yep.
I was gonna say every turn if Thanos has any stones, he automatically takes damage. But does he? Does he actually?
No, because you spend all your power moving people. He never takes damage.
But if he gains, well, he would gain what, like 4 power every turn, right?
You would get 4 power a turn. If you took the Power Stone, he'd gain 5.
So if he has 4 power a turn, he automatically takes damage. He'll be 4 power.
No,
he has
it's
4
if
power.
you have 6 or more.
Oh, is it 6 or more? Okay.
6 or more.
6 or more. Then okay, there you go. You just have to make sure he.
I'm checking, but I'm pretty sure.
I think you're right. I now that you
6
say
or
that.
more.
Okay.
Get pwned, scrub.
So now you just need to make sure he never ever gets attacked, so he never gains any additional damage. But I guess it doesn't matter. But what I was thinking,
because it's only in the power phase, and he'll end up spending it all.
right?
And what your plan is to get power on Thanos? That's your counter to my list.
Mhm.
Like I don't care.
I'm going to add so much power to Thanos, he won't even know what to do.
Yeah, if only Thanos could do stuff with power,
Nah.
we would have an answer to this.
Nah.
Yeah. No, but it's mainly that Dormammu's going to be rolling 10 dice on his big attack, and it's going to hit on skulls, so you have a 5 in 8 chance of getting a successful damage, and then every one of their defense dice is a 1 in 8 chance of giving you a successful damage.
Yeah.
And so it's basically just going to kill anyone you pointed at. It's going to be funny.
It's
And
something.
then also you'll have silly board control because of Thanos.
Yeah, it's probably like 7 damage per like average, something like that.
Yeah.
That would be such a that's such a negative play experience.
Because
thinking
it's
about that.
5 points.
It's real bad.
It's 5.7 per die, so it's 5.7 for 10, and then what is it? It's totally dependent on how many defense dice they're rolling. But I mean, even if you don't count that, you're averaging maxing out people's health bars with its normal roll. And then Feel the Power of Darkness is after he gets attacked, you can push the person away and they gain Hex.
Yeah.
And Incinerate.
If they already have Hex, I think.
If they already had Hex, they gain Incinerate.
Yeah, what's funny is
Dark
that
Miasma is you get to do it again without paying the power cost, targeting someone within 2. That would be hilarious. Because if you're rolling 10 dice, the odds of getting all these results isn't that crazy. It's not good, but it isn't crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And then at 20 points, you throw in a 3-point model that you get to play twice.
Yeah.
And luckily, anyone who gets close, when you put that model to try and kill Dormammu, Thanos will take care of that. Why don't you go over there instead?
Yeah, how do you get to him? Like, it's like, all right, I got to Dormammu. Because you do all of this funny stuff, right? And so they're like, all right, so Thanos places Dormammu forward, and then he moves up and he moves 2 of your people together so that way the yeet cannon can actually hit 2 people. And then he's like, all right, done, your turn, Dormammu. Dormammu goes, you Death Decree. He hits the Omega Blaster, and you probably vaporize a guy. And then Dormammu teleports backwards, your turn? You're like it's like, how do you kill them? It's impossible. Now, you're going to lose on scenario real hard, but they have to win before you kill their whole list, which will probably be pretty easy. Because you're only killing 1 person a turn. But it's going to be funny.
Yeah. You'll definitely have done it. That's the point. You'll have done it.
He's got so many weird rules. I'm still reading everything. I don't know why. I read it backwards due to dyslexia, but it said immunity to flight. And I'm like, how does that matter? Like, no, like, oh, he has flight. He's immune to bleed, incinerate, and stagger. Oops. Anyway, that's the silliness I'm going to play. I know we talked about it before, but I'm actually kind of excited because I like dumb, silly lists. All right. Are we done? Are we doing another round? I don't think I have anything else.
I'm good.
You good? Okay. So last topic today, Parker's going to talk about something involving iron. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. So in honor of our friend Iron Man coming out, I have a long-running title, so I'm going to try to pinpoint exactly if you want to read it. It's Iron Man, the Invincible Iron Man, which is one of the longest-running single series in Marvel Comics. But this one is called Invincible Iron Man Execute Program. So it took place in 2007. It's issue numbers 7 to 12 that year in the Invincible Iron Man. And so this was actually the thing directly preceding the Marvel Comics Civil War. So Iron Man has the Extremis. For those of you who are not familiar, he basically used amazing biological program that restructured his body so that it could better interface with all technological systems, including his armor. So basically, he is Iron Man inside and out at this point in the Marvel Universe.
I think you just mean Iron Man 3, right? Just go watch Iron Man 3 and you'll understand.
Oh, Jesus. If you've ever seen Iron Man 3, please just forget all the nouns and pronouns and proper nouns in that movie, because all of them are just the worst. The movie is okay. The movie's actually okay, but it's very, very... It butchers an otherwise cool story for Iron Man. At any rate... Yeah, what's up?
Go ahead.
Okay.
I'm going to stop interrupting you. Go
okay. At any rate, the problem with this process is he makes himself biologically so close to a biological computer that he is also accessed to be hacked himself. And so basically the main plot of the story opens up immediately with a hacker has acquired not only control of Tony Stark, but the entire newly enhanced Iron Man system. And he can do basically whatever he wants because there is not a superpower on the planet that can stop this new version of Iron Man realistically. He's so advanced in his tech and his integration with systems. So it's about Iron Man getting out of this terrible situation he's in. One of the cool things about it is a lot of in the movie, the Civil War movie, Captain America: Civil War, they don't really expound as to why precisely Tony Stark is pro registration. They just kind of they draw up lines, right? And they needed somebody to be the opposite of Captain America. Tony Stark is the obvious choice. But in the comic books, the Civil War event actually has a very in-depth backstory about why Tony Stark believes that superheroes are like loaded guns and should therefore be registered, and that whole experience is this one. Now, the reason why I chose it for today's episode is because in it, you get to see a lot of Tony Stark's toys, like the Hulkbuster armor is one of them, because he he decides he's going to try to basically make himself like Iron Man World, where he has all these different versions of Iron Man that can go out, and since they're all intimately connected to his nervous system, he can do everything at the same time. Basically as much as his brain can handle, he can run in Iron Man suits. And of course, drama ensues after he does this, and you can see what Iron Man does whenever his creations go awry. But really a good Iron Man, just kind of standalone series, but it also sets up the reason why Tony Stark ever even was pro-registration in the Civil War, and it's compelling. The Civil War was one of the best general storylines Marvel Comics ever did, because they gave a really good reason for everyone's side in that. There seemed to be kind of a good side, but honestly, if you read this Invincible Iron Man Execute program, you'll see why Tony was sure the registration needed to happen. It's perfectly reasonable.
Nice. Sounds like a shot-for-shot remake of Iron Man 3.
Yeah, so if you guys like Iron Man 3, shot-for-shot remake of Lethal Weapon 5. I mean, Iron Man 3.
Yeah. I was going to say that. It's the best Lethal Weapon 5 we have.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's going to wrap it up for us today. Hopefully you enjoyed our episode. If you have any questions you want to ask us, please send them to our Facebook page or comment on our YouTube channel, or you can... what's another good way to contact us?
Pigeon.
Smoke signals.
I guess you could send an email to
Raven.
our Google Mail, but that's really not the best way. Yeah, I would say send us a Facebook message, or if you don't do Facebook, go to YouTube and comment on the videos, and I check those pretty often. Well, anyway, this has been Brandon.
And Parker.
And Jeremy McGurr Consta Hulkbuster is amazing. We need one of those.
A.K.A. Dormammu.
A.K.A. Dormammu.
And this has been X Gene Gonna Give It To You.
Oh my god.
Got him. Fucking got him.
Yeah!
So what are we going to call this thing?
I got it. Okay. Incredible, new, fantastic, astonishing, mighty, original, uncanny, sensational podcast.
I'm just going to put down infamous.
So, I mean, really, the answer to that is what if that show What If is like the answer to the age-old question of who would win in a fight, Mighty Mouse or Superman? Like, it actually answers those kind of questions, right? Like, that's what it like scratches the itch for. And that's what's kind of cool about it.
I think the part of it is that there's been so many alternate timelines in the comics that you never get to see, like, what about, like, Bleeding Edge Iron Man, interacting with, I don't know, like, Smart Hulk or something. Like there's characters that have existed in multiple timelines that have never interacted with each other. And so it opens up the door for that, I think, is what a lot of people want.
Yeah.
Although someone was telling me that apparently the What If television show is not episodic, it's concurrent. So the episodes take place in the same timeline. So based on what they were saying is there's the What If show is just one separate timeline. And we see multiple things in that. I thought that was dumb. And the whole point was going to be that it was multiple different timelines.
Yeah.
Seemed confusing.
I don't know. Did they say where they're getting that information? Because that sounds like made up bullshit. I'm not saying that you made it up, but that sounds like they made up bullshit.
Yeah.
Because it sounds like somebody going, no, they're all on the same timeline. It's just a new MCU. Like, yeah. Sounds like a mansplain. Somebody trying to be cool.
That's certainly not what the comic books were like.
No.
That's what I thought.
Right. The comic books were all 100% very different stories.
I have the Conan versus Wolverine. What if?
Yeah.
I mean,
Conan the Barbarian.
Yep.
Isn't that pretty obvious? Though? Am I missing something?
The Predator has fought like every single comic book character at some point. The Predator has fought.
Yeah.
Them. Predator versus
Squirrel Girl.
Arrow.
It's probably
Yeah.
half.
Squirrel
of it.
Girl.
Yeah. It's probably.
I know
half
there
of it.
was multiple Punisher kills series where he literally kills
Yeah.
everyone in the MCU.
Deadpool kills everyone. That's been happened many times.
Mm-hmm.
One of the most interesting multiverse ones that I'm a little surprised they did, but not surprised they did, which is the zombie one. So I know one of the episodes features zombie, and the Marvel Zombies was wonderful to read, mostly because of Machine Man. I am really excited for Machine Man to show up in lots of things. I hope I told Sarah my secret hope is that Machine Man shows up in the What If series in the zombie episodes, because if they don't, they missed a golden opportunity to introduce one of the best Marvel characters in the whole universe.
Is he just a robot?
Yeah, so he was a really gimmicky kind of, in the golden age of comics, he was a really gimmicky kind of dud character. But they reinvented him for the zombies storyline, the Marvel Zombie storyline, because of course, Marvel Zombies. Eventually, a couple superheroes become zombified, and once superheroes are zombified, like, you can't fucking stop them, right? They're unstoppable. And so they basically eat or zombify the entire world very quickly. And the only creatures they can't zombify are the artificial intelligences, and the one who hates people the most is Machine Man. And so he finally gets an excuse to start murdering all the meatbags, because he's been programmed not to kill people, and it's the thing he likes about himself the least. He hates himself that he can't kill people. And so once they're finally zombies, his
Three-law safe right there.
Yeah. It basically, as soon as they're zombies, he finds out he can start murdering everyone. And so Machine Man saves the universe by murdering everything in the Marvel universe. It's wonderful. Machine Man is a fantastic character, and that Machine Man, like, the interpretation of him was so popular because the Marvel Zombies was so popular that they basically, the Machine Man in the primary Marvel universe, which was a totally forgotten character, they just basically brought him into a bunch of other series now, so he's a really common thing. He's really common in the Marvel universe now to show up, kind of as a Deadpool type character. He's usually, comic relief, but he's great.
Parker, can you back off your mic? Cool.
How about that? Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Better?
You were a little loud and you were popping a bit. Okay. Boy, we've had some spoilers in the last few days.
Had some, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Hey, Parker, I have some news for you.
What's that?
You're a bum.
You're a bum.
Just so you know, I see David Jones 7 times more often than I see you right now.
Because he's always playing that card game?
Well, I've seen him 3 times the last 5 days in person.
Oh,
And
man.
I've seen you 3 times the last 5 weeks.
Did he come over to paint?
No, he's just been coming to the store like 3 out of 5 days.
That's awesome.
One of the times, to be fair, he forgot something, so that doesn't really count, but I'm counting it.
Mm-hmm. I said this, but as soon as school starts, especially during volleyball season, everything gets just pushed onto the weekend. It becomes a lot harder to get away. And then last Thursday was Sarah's quilt night, and so she was at her quilt guild stuff. Tomorrow is the last day of tryouts, and so if I'm there, I'll be late. So we'll see how late I am tomorrow.
I'll be late tomorrow for sure, too. I've got to meet the teacher night, so I got to run all the way back to Blue Springs, then run all the way back out.
Oof.
It's balls. I'm not excited, but, kids.
Gotta meet that teacher, yo.
Yeah, so I can be annoyed with them, and I have a face to put with the emails.
Yeah. That's right.
I'm telling, everyone always asks, well, they're doing their best job and they're teachers and all this stuff and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I once had a conversation with a 2nd grade teacher who asked if my kids didn't like her. And I said, well, I didn't like my teachers, so why would they like you? And everyone in the room stopped talking.
Yeah.
And we were done.
I didn't like my teachers, so why would they like you?
That was when I was married. I was married at the time, and we were all just sitting there, and everyone was disappointed but me.
No, that's what a horrible question. Why would a professional of any kind put that on anybody? I find that parent-teacher conferences, in middle school it's a little bit better because most of the time the parents don't get a lot of time because you got 8 people to talk to, so you don't get to have very in-depth conversations most of the time. But so there's not a lot of chances to fuck it up. But I have been in the room with other teachers in parent-teacher conferences because I've done it in big forums where everybody's just kind of walking around flea market style.
I know. Oh god.
Some of the time when I hear what I hear going on at the other tables, I'm just like, what? I ask myself, what's the parent supposed to do with that? Like, what are you doing for them? They don't feel helped at all. They don't feel useful at all. And you don't need. And I'm not mean like you hear only positive things, but the only thing you should be telling adults who come to see you is how you're going to serve their kid. That's the only thing. And if you have news for them that they should be concerned about, it should be with the service. You should say, they're really struggling in this area, and this is how they're going to be successful in my class. That should be what it is. It's not they're really having a hard time in this area, and then pregnant pause. Why are you like? What do you expect is going to be born in that moment? Is the parent going to go is the parent going to go, oh, you know what? No one's ever told me that before. I didn't know my kid was bad at this. You know what? I actually am a physicist, so I can just help them with that. Like, no, it's not. It's like no one's ever like had anything to add to that moment. I would
assume they would have responded with, "Oh, my kid's bad at math. Well, I told him to be bad at math. So now that I know it's becoming an issue, I'll tell him to stop being bad at math."
Yeah, it's just
like, you're not helping.
Right. I have had meetings with kids. I've had meetings with parents, and their kids were absolutely like dumpster fires, not academically, behaviorally, and these parents are just used to being told over and over and over and over again to do something about it. But what are they doing at home? They're 13 miles, 5 miles, however many miles away from their kid. They work all the time when they're not with their kids. Sometimes they see them just in passing before or after dinner. Like, what are they supposed to be doing? So every time I had a conversation, I was like, this is what I'm doing to help your kid. Yeah. I just want to tell you, please, give me input. If you're interested in knowing more, I'll tell you all about it. But this is what I'm doing to help your kid. I'm just going to tell you what my job is, because I think that's what you're here to find out. I don't think you're here to find out what your kid is. I think you know who your kid is. You probably are trying to find out what I'm doing. And as long as I keep the conversation around that, I've always had a very, very, very successful conversation with adults. But
are conferences a normal thing? Like, is that something that happens on a regular basis?
At least twice a year. At least.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I actually had...
do your kids' parents show up for that?
Mm-hmm. Usually a lot of kids show up to the first one. Not nearly as many parents, about half. But I usually get, of my 100 students, I'll get, 50 or 60 at the first one, and then a lot less. Usually only like 20 or 30 at the second one max. But then if there are kids, kids that are frequent flyers that are always, some issue like trouble or academics, then, I'm seeking out more than just that twice a year conference. But like I said, I've never had a parent hang up the phone on me. Like people tell me these horror stories of parents, like they try to call them and they get yelled at by parents, or the parents just hang up on them and they don't know how they're going to deal with this parent. I've never had any of that, because when I call them, the only thing I want to do is tell them what I'm doing. Like, this is what I'm doing to help your kid. Because this is the situation. This is what happened. I thought you should be aware how I'm going to help them, how we're going to support them here. I say we, I don't say me, because I want them to feel like it's not just me. But I don't know. As long as, I guess maybe that's it. I think teachers, just like anything else, some teachers are lazy. They're bad at, they're not excellent at finding solutions for kids. Basically, they can teach if no one has a problem, right? Like, oh yeah, I can totally teach math if everyone can math. But as soon as your kid has some issue that's outside of my immediate ability to deal with, I'm just going to tell you and pray you'll fix it. It's passing the buck. I don't like it. So yeah, I totally feel you. You got to go to parent night. You got to go to parent night, because there's a really good chance you're going to have to stick up for
your kids to be better.
Yeah.
And won't have any problems.
If everyone would just work harder.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Just have better kids. Like,
do better. Do better.
Yeah. Skate better.
Yeah.
You want
to win? Try hard. Skate better. No, I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, it was a Disney movie, a Disney Channel original movie called Brink. Anybody guys see Brink?
Jesus, that's a deep cut, Parker.
That is deep meta knowledge.
Deep.
Deep meta knowledge. There's a movie called Brink. Is the reason why kids of the 2000s, late 90s and 2000s know this movie because it was a mild cult hit. Because it actually had chops. It was actually not a horrible movie. A lot of that stuff was just terrible. But that one was actually a pretty fun movie. And there's this moment in it where these guys about to go to a skating competition, and his little brother comes up and says, "Hey, skate better." And he goes, "Skate better. Skate
And then he like
better."
does better.
No, it's he's saying it sarcastically, right? It's all tongue in cheek. It's not like he has an epiphany to skate better. It's not magical. He just goes skate better. And so if you've ever seen that movie, that scene is a steal in that movie. It totally makes the movie. Skate better. Skate better.
Mhm.
So every time I hear tell anybody, tell me to do better, or just fix it, then I always think skate better.
Nice. Thanks for that revelation.
I took you down memory lane, but it's only my memory, so it's a lonely, dusty lane. I guess all by myself.
I've been looking for good things to watch and asking everybody, and no one came up with Brink. But I'm glad. I'm glad now I have my next stream. My evenings are full.
Can you find Brink? Maybe it's on Disney Plus.
I'm sure it is. They have fucking everything else on there.
If it's there, I might have to. Hell yes, 90s Disney movie. It's on Disney Plus.
Dude, they have fucking Steamboat Willie on Disney Plus.
They do.
Got a 76% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah. It's got one of my the Black Ranger, the original Black Ranger, Walter Emmanuel Jones. He's on it. I recognized him. I remember that.
That was like the first guy I ever saw on TV with a flat top. Hey, Jeremy, what does the Snyder cut of Brink have on Rotten Tomatoes? I bet it's at least a 60.
It's got a
Snyder
37.
cut. The Snyder cut.
It's 6.5 hours long. It got rated. It got
has
rated
3
7
times as many double, triple axles.
Yeah. It's got 7 out of 10 juice boxes awards. It's good.
I like that a lot. How many is the Snyder cut of Brink?
It's actually
That pleases
14
me.
days long.
But at the end of that 14 days, you find out it was all a dream within an illusion inside a hypnosis.
Mm-hmm. Oh, by the way, have any of you guys... Okay, I'll start the saying by... I have no ill feelings for Hugh Jackman. No problem with Hugh Jackman.
How dare you?
I was going to say,
I have
careful,
no
motherfucker.
I have no problem with Hugh
Careful!
Jackman whatsoever.
Knives are out, bitch.
So I know that's why I started with that. I started with that, going, Hugh Jackman is an amazing person, inside and out. He's a glorious, beautiful person.
Careful.
There's a new movie he's going to come out on. I guess is it Netflix or Amazon original?
Yes.
Have you seen this? His newest
called,
movie is a sci-fi movie.
Yeah.
that is-
I can't remember. Yeah.
It is, as far as I could tell, exactly Inception again.
Exactly, Inception again.
Yeah. As soon as I saw it, you know what thing came to my mind immediately? You remember Chewbacca? Remember Chewbacca again? like that's the first thing I thought is somebody looking at that going, remember Inception? Remember Inception again? Like it's exactly what it is. Oh, Reminiscence. Reminiscence is the name of this movie. And as soon as I saw it, I went, it's Chewbacca again. And the fact that it's also about memory made me laugh. So if South Park doesn't bring back Chewbacca again to make fun of this film, I think they're missing something. They're slow.
I looked it up. Top stories. It says, and this sums it all up. Reminiscence review. Hugh Jackman's Inception ripoff isn't worth remembering. Boom!
Yep. There
Boom.
it is.
Nick Bannister, a private investigator of the mind, navigates an alluring world of the past.
God damn.
What the fuck?
All I know is
Even-
Hugh Jackman can do it better. I'm good with that.
All-
It'll be better.
That's the funny thing is, even like the color schemes, the device they use to do it, like the mystical dream memory world they go into, everything looks so much like Inception. It's so ripoff. It reminds me of like remember Dante's Peak and like the Inferno or whatever it was, like those two identical volcano movies that came out within 3 months of each other, starring I think the exact same people. Like it looked even like the same people.
Mm-hmm.
Reminiscence is.
There's one Yahoo question about Reminiscence. By what name was Reminiscence released officially in English in India?
That's a very okay.
That's a very specific and odd question.
Yeah.
I can't get any clearer than that.
I mean, yeah, I think we're all on the same page now. What the fuck?
So, has anyone seen Free Guy? Is anyone going to see Free Guy?
Not yet. I will go see it. Yeah.
Okay.
I saw the trailer review with Deadpool and Korg.
That was adorable.
Did you see that?
I have not.
That was
But
adorable.
Deadpool started doing these trailer reactions, and then he had Korg special guest star on the New Guy one or whatever it's called.
Yeah,
Free Guy.
Well, Taika is not producing or directing, but he does play the antagonist.
He's in the movie. Yeah,
he plays the antagonist in Free Guy.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I
Korg thought it was worth seeing.
I am torn because this might be the first movie in a long time that I'm actually jazzed enough to go and see in theaters after I watch some content. It looks like a lot of fun.
It's like literally Ready Player One from what I can tell.
Actually, I think it's a little bit different than that. I think it's actually
Well, the plot is different, but it's
Yeah.
the same fucking movie.
Yeah. I think I would see it again just to see Taika Waititi do things.
I feel like
watch it
they don't even have to be good movies anymore. They just have to be entertaining. I'm excited just to go.
Mhm.
I see every piece of shit that comes out that's even like halfway decent. It doesn't even matter. I'm
I mean,
in.
you saw this. You saw the Snyder cut.
Not at the theater, but I woulda. I mean, I
If
could
they
have
would
packed
have
a
let
bag.
me in.
If I would have packed a bag.
Yeah. I don't know how many vacation days did you have left. I don't know if you could have seen it in theaters.
That's true. That would have taken a bunch.
We used to take PTO to wait in line to see movies. Now you have to use PTO just to see the movie.
Hmm.
It's great. All right. Well, are you guys ready to do this? Do we have anything to talk about today? I think we're just going to ramble on about news.
I do. I actually like Jeremy's idea about picking some new models because there's so many new models that we have rules for now that aren't on the out. It is like nearly a dozen now, right?
I'm not really. I mean, you can. My idea was not necessarily models that aren't out. I mean, that could be on the list if they're super hot, but like, there's so many out. Like, I tried to use them the other day, and I had like one too many in a list, and I was like, holy fuck, I've got a lot going on here. And my thought was, there's a handful of models that are actually out now that are pretty solid, that are used for different things, and I'm not sure what they're used for yet. Like, they seem interesting and cool. I was just thinking either, pick one or two or something that are interesting, but you haven't had enough time to think or flush it out in a list for 10 games and maybe just discuss that. Because, I mean, there's always Valkyrie you can put in for 3 points, but there's also other ones that are out now that are 3 points that are solid that may not be getting any screen time. That was my thought, because it's.
I mean, we can do that, but I don't know that there's like. I guess there's like one thing I kind of want to do that I haven't had time to do.
Like, I feel you have one specifically that you've been tooling with. That would be interesting to
What's
hear
that?
kind of the dynamics of that conversation. Like, Mr. Sinister. I mean, like,
What do you mean?
just the fact that he's kind of newish. You've been playing him. I mean, where the fuck does he work? Like,
Guy's
what is
been
his
out for like 3 months.
3 months? The game's been out for a year and a half, and Valkyrie's still the number 1 3-point model, or is she? Like,
Well, I mean, she stabs people with swords. Like, that's good stuff.
Yes.
That's some hard hitting commentary there by Brandon.
Good shit.
She'll sword you. You're like, what? You fucking kidding me?
I mean,
Swords!
personally, I think it's pretty well known I'm the biggest innovator in our play group. I invented how to beat Magneto.
Oh, Jesus. glad this is being recorded.
throw X-Cons at him.
No, I had two time-tested and approved methods for beating Magneto. The second one, which is the more recent, you might remember, was play Crossbones. It is undefeated. Crossbones has never lost Magneto in my tenure. The second and more original was Play Magneto, which I found quite useful. It was 100% win rate for Magneto.
Magneto v Magneto.
Yeah, Magneto always wins.
How could he lose? He's Magneto.
That is innovation. I think by definition that's innovation.
I find it easiest to see the box while standing outside the box, viewing yourself inside the box.
Is that all?
That's
Like,
how
is the
deep it
rest?
goes.
Is that
It's-
whole entire thing in a box as well?
Yeah, no,
Good.
and then as
Okay,
it
okay,
pans out, you
okay.
see there's another larger box that you were within the whole time being viewed from you still outside that box. And it's just like an infinite cascade of boxes and U's.
Which was purchased using Shroot bucks. But there's plenty of news too. I mean, that was just a thought.
We have a couple things to talk about. Okay, so our official topic is talk about 3 models that we think is interesting in the current meta.
Interesting. Yes.
Probably
3. You mean
new
3?
characters.
Three like models untested for us. Like we haven't. That's the idea,
Yeah,
right?
3 hypothetical like meta. I don't know. I'm trying to phrase this in a way that people will understand what it means.
Is it really meta? Like, are we thinking it's gonna like change the meta?
Well, the
or
meta
just
is like that would be what you're.
I see the game state.
Yeah, the meta would be inserting them into the meta and how they would react.
Are they that good? Question mark. I don't know. Meta worthy.
I mean, it's basically just like meta worthy or excited to try.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
But they do.
Go
need to
ahead.
be out, or it's just we know of. them?
No, they don't have to be out, but
Okay.
obviously we need to know. Don't just say I'm waiting for Doom like that. That's not
that's
useful.
right. I
information.
would not say the new Iron Man, even though I am excited.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Okay, so don't nobody say something stupid like that.
I won't.
All right, so you guys good? I'm ready.
Yeah.
All right, let's get some time stampies.
yeah.
It came back.
We
did. Oh boy. So I've been wanting to tell you guys. So Jeremy, do you remember that game I played against Jason when he just like table swept his models into the trash can and left?
Yes.
That was I did not think it was going that badly for him at the time. But he came up yesterday and we played a game.
What?
Which surprised me on multiple levels. 1, that he showed up. 2, that he talked to me. And 3, that we played a game of Marvel Crisis Protocol.
Wow.
I was very surprised at basically everything that happened that day.
That guy has a really tough constitution.
Yeah, I know, right? The guy, it's almost like he lives in a natural state of hell because he has a wife and kids. But anyway, I'm just kidding. I think he loves his wife, probably.
I think you.
Hi, Susan. Of all of the people, I have spoken more words to Susan than anybody else's wife I can think of.
That's true.
So I have a pretty good relationship with Susan. She usually texts me when she needs to buy a present for him. Anyway, we played a game, and beforehand, I did this little exercise because he wanted to guess what he wanted to play after he was having a bad time. He wanted to switch to something that would
Black
give him
Order.
a better chance to win. He went to Black Order.
Black Order.
And so he shows up, builds a Black Order list while I'm doing something. I walk over, I'm like, so we're doing that, okay? It's like, we're back to Black Order. For anybody at home, every time Jason loses a game, he switches back to Black Order and then just runs it straight down the middle. Like, if you're thinking you know how Black Order works, don't think about that when Jason plays Black Order. Black Order is also known as Hulk plus Hulk plus Hulk run down middle. Like, he plays them when he doesn't want to think about anything and just fucking hammer it. And so he just literally walks down the middle and punches everybody.
All
It's
mid.
like, all right.
All mid.
And so I told him that the reason he was getting frustrated with games is because they're ending early because he's not keeping track of the scenario well enough. He's not realizing when he's getting behind until it's too late to come back. And then it's pointless because he's too far behind. And so we did this little exercise before we did the game where we didn't get out stat cards. We just said, all right, hypothetically, if we were playing 17 points, what would your squad be? And so we pulled out the models we would probably use at 17 points just because it's the most common point total. We set the models down, then we deployed. I deployed a fake scenario that we were not playing. I just deployed it. Let's see. I basically did Deadly Legacy Cure and Mutant Madman. And I just deployed a Bravo Secure and a Centerline Extract is what I did. And so we just played out first turn, not rolling dice, not spending power, not taking damage, but just moving to where you would do and assuming logical progression of the turn. And we did that, and he played Black Order. He played the standard 3-model Black Order versus I played X-Force, just so he would have something generic to play against. And we just dry played it out, like trying to figure out how he could get ahead on scenario while being outnumbered like that. Because then it was like 5-3.
Mm-hmm.
And so we played it out, and he ended up getting ahead on scenario points. But I was trying to reinforce him thinking about the game as a, how do you get points? Like, don't think about fighting people, because all that stuff is secondary. The most important thing is having the mindset of you're trying to get points. Everything you're doing is to get points. You're not going here to try and kill Wolverine. You're going here to get him to drop the extract he's holding so you can get his point. Like, so to trying to change the frame of reference for where his plans come from. And so we did that before the game, and then we played the game, and he ended up losing, but it was a very close game, and he was much better on scenario throughout the game. And so I think he left feeling much better about his progress. So hopefully that sticks and he keeps with it.
Worst case scenario, he seems to just appear anyway, so.
Yeah. I mean, what are the odds of him quitting? Also, now that Hulkbuster's been spoiled, he's probably not going to quit until he at least buys it.
Mm-hmm. He buys it first, then quits.
Buys it, and then he can just fucking windmill it into the trash.
Yeah.
Fuck this game.
Yeah, I feel.
I don't know.
I feel.
I don't know if I want to tell this other story. Go ahead.
Oh, I just always feel bad, whether I'm in a game with him or you're in a game, like anyone in a game with him. I just feel terrible for him because, like, there's always a moment where you're playing and you're like, oh no, like he doesn't realize, and then when he does, all of a sudden the game is just not worth playing anymore because it's like, oh shit. And he's not the kind of guy to take anything back, it's just kind of play it through and do the thing. And it does feel pretty shitty, like when you did it. But again, you have to do things like you're saying you do. You play it through and see what's going on there.
Yeah. I love playing Jason. I think he's my favorite opponent right now. But yeah, there's definitely times in games where it's like obvious at one point that Jason has forgotten or did not realize how something worked. And it's kind of at the stage where it's too late to take back or warn him about. Or it's like you need, like, I'm playing criminal, so you're not actually contesting this point. And you clearly, at this point in your turn, it's blatantly obvious that you thought you were contesting it. But it's like, well, we've already done a bunch of other stuff, and Jason does not ask for takebacks. Like, he's like, I fucked up, it's my fault, like, we keep going, but it's just like, well, yeah, but then now this game is pointless because you're 4 points behind and I'm playing criminals, so it doesn't matter. Like, it's just stuff like that, yeah. Or it's like you did not know that Magneto couldn't be thrown when you made your plan this turn, and so everything leading to this moment is just trash. Like, throw it out the window.
I usually like to start my turns like that, immediately go to Magneto, immediately punch him first instead of throw him first, and then get angry. Like, it happens every goddamn time. It's happened to me 40 times in a row.
Yeah. It's like, he's like, all right, well, the game's over. He's like, I agree. I activate Shuri and shoot Magneto, so I push him off the point. And he's like, shit! Like, usually what I do is I will attack somebody. Oh, what I did this game against Jason, perfect example. I ended Wolverine's turn. He had just dazed Enchantress. I'm like, oh, man, this game is in the bag. Man, Wolverine's got all this power. I might as well use some of it. I'll medpack Cable. End turn. Corvus Glaive does Glaive's Edge Deathblow on Wolverine. I'm like, I look down, I have 2 power. I'm like, God damn it! Like, why am I so bad at this game? Wolverine takes 11 damage. Son of a bitch! Like, it's like, if only there was something I could have done to prevent this from happening. Yeah, so that's usually what I get mad about. I get so mad when I do shit like that. Like, I had a plan, and I changed my plan.
Chased it down the hole.
Yeah. Sad. All right. Well, do you guys have anything else you wanted to chat about? Wait, there was something I wanted to bring up.
I am fading super hard.
Nah, I think that's it. Let's go ahead and wrap up.